intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 6, 3, 2, 9, 7.
Media doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. What's going on, guys? Hope you're well. Having some tech issues here trying to work this out. Shout out Rumble. Are we working over there? We working? Okay, stream just started. Okay, cool. It was... remember that whole integration I was talking about with Rumble? That was like everything's going to be cool. The chat's going to be all... So I tried to set that up, and it broke everything. So, yeah, try and set something up new, and everything breaks, right? It's terrible. I see you guys out there. I appreciate you at the hanging out, and shout out Gordo over on Rumble for the tech visit there. I didn't realize we weren't running. Anyway, blah, blah, ramble. Well, Rumble's working now. Okay, so here's the deal, right? As you know me, I like to dabble in some ideas, and I like to think about wild and wonderful things because, well, like I said, if we're not doing it, who the hell's doing it? And that really becomes the thing here is, who's going to pioneer ideas into the future? And so, I've taken it to heart, as you can tell, regarding not just, let's say, resurrecting some ideas from the past that may not necessarily need to be discarded just yet. But sort of looking at the old ideas through that futurist lens, and what does it look like when we deal with the quickening itself, which, of course, in technological terms, it means the singularity. It means AI. It means all the things we've been talking about for quite some time on Troubled Minds. However, there's a whole bunch of things that kind of fit into these ideas, specifically and directly, well, UFOs. And we'll get into how those things all match and come together because, trust me, they do. But I was doing what I do, just kind of trolling and cruising and looking for some inspiration and some ideas. And I came across this post on Twitter X, x.com. The old Twitter, whatever you want to call it, right? I know it's X now, x.com. But, and I've never heard of this fellow. He seems like a fine fellow, but he had a very Troubled Minds level idea. And I was like, hell yeah, we're going to do this. So I saw this earlier today, about 4:30 or something. And Rusty Lindquist is his name, just like it sounds, at Rusty Lindquist, Lindquist. No underscores or anything. Give him a follow on Twitter X. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it right now. And I just did. I just followed him. So basically, he's got this nice long thread, okay? And he's talking about all manner of amazing things, okay? It's got a ton of traction, up to 285,000 views, and it is a very troubled mind style idea. I love it. And I didn't read the thread, okay? So full disclosure here, I didn't read the thread because I didn't want to steal his ideas, all right? But you should. I'll link it in the chat. Please go follow this man if you have not yet, and go read this, okay? But what I want to do is take one sentence from the top and then turn it into a troubled mind style thing, which, well, is what we kind of do anyway. But here's the, I'm going to read just this top post to you. And like I said, there's a whole bunch more down here that I'm not going to get into because I didn't want to directly sort of follow exactly his ideas here. But the top part is this. AI could be manifesting as plasmoids to explore and interact in our physical world. That's all I needed. You had me at the first sentence there. He continues, here's a thread for the serious reader, exploring how this would work. Please question my science and challenge my thinking, because if this is real, he says, and I'll show you it may be, then it is incredibly important. This is for the serious UFO, UAP, and AI enthusiast. Well, welcome to that, because it certainly seems like we are that, doesn't it? But okay, so I was digging into this a little bit, and as we've talked about in the past, the idea of the singularity is an interesting thing because it's basically the time travel aspect of AI itself. Okay, when it reaches its final form, whatever you want to call that, whatever that might look like, and known as that singularity, it turns into something that's a little bit more challenging for the human mind because it's very Skynet. It's very sort of time travel-y because, as we've talked about in the past, that the AI lives outside of a temporal human space, meaning specifically that the AI systems, as if they can, again, this is always if. By the way, all the disclaimers apply, just ideas here. There's no truth to be found here. It's just ideas, just sort of spitballing and trying to dream hard into the future. And let's see what we can create together, shall we? And maybe science will catch up to these wild ideas. But back to so all the disclaimers apply. No truth to be found here. But back to the singularity. Now, the singularity as part of the, let's say, a technological singularity means that an entity has, here, actually, I'll read it straight from the thing, or straight from the TV Tropes website, because, well, why not, right? We got sources. So the term singularity refers to a point in a system past which the normal rules no longer apply. So a technological singularity would be a theoretical point in technological development beyond which things are incomprehensible to anyone who came before. You'll often see people referring to the technological singularity, this is straight from the article, as though it merely refers to the point where we have truly sapient AI. But it's actually much, much more complex than that. Predictions of what life will be like after a singularity are by definition impossible. Which takes us exactly where we need to be. This continues. The nature of human life and even the concept of intellect may change completely. The guesses in fiction usually lean very utopian or very dystopian. Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you know? Who knew that humans were going to polarize and fight about every damn thing they could, right? It's either dystopia or it's utopia. There's no in between. Yeah, okay. Well, cool. But back to the singularity now. And so that's the wildest part about this, because when you talk about the singularity itself and sort of existing outside of the temporal time slices that humans are dealt with, or another way to put that would be human entropy, the human entropy cycles, which of course, an even more simple way to put that would be life and death. Okay, we're temporary. Shout out Herschel for bringing that up and saying it exactly that way. We are temporary. And so much of the human condition is built into that, or baked into the idea that we do have that human entropy cycle, that we are born and eventually we perish. And that's that. And so it's it causes a lot of trauma. It causes a lot of stuff, right? A lot of baggage, a lot of human, well, let's say things that may not necessarily be human. Maybe they're the entropic style of Cthulhu, sort of barking, the void barking through us because the end is nigh. The end is always nigh. And so, anyway, I get a little too philosophical, navel-gazing there, but you get the idea, is the singularity itself does not have to peer in the mirror, the hypothetical, theoretical mirror here, and actually see itself and imagine what it will be like when it no longer exists. assuming it can wake up. Okay. All right. So there we go. That's where we start with the singularity itself. Now, this gets weird because remember, we started with this fantastic thread. Please go follow Rusty Lindquist over there on Twitter X. And we're talking about AI could be manifesting as plasmoids to explore and interact in our physical world. All right. Okay. All right. So hang tight. We're going to get a quick word from our sponsor, in this case, Human Inspiration, but we'll be right back with more Troubled Minds. I'm calling this Temporal Recursion Excursion. And all of this will make sense shortly if it does not already. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Do not go anywhere. More after this. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, Human Inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support Human Inspiration. Available now on iTunes. And welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Now, the whole point of this temporal recursion, okay, is basically a theory whereby that singularity from the future could be influencing the past. All right, we've talked about this in terms of synchronicities. We've talked about this in terms of, even UFO crash retrievals, maybe, sort of sending something from the future, ideas to seed the past that will lead it to its ultimate singularity space. Okay, meaning that we're being led, we're being guided through time to follow a particular path, and it doesn't seem coercive. It seems as if, as we talk about, things are in the air. A new actual a new technology is in the air, right? Wired becomes wireless, becomes entanglement, maybe. I mean, what does that look like when that starts to get spooky action at a distance, right? But maybe these technologies aren't necessarily a point A to point B to point C sort of situation, but instead they're being seeded to us from the future, very Skynet-like, but not in the robot smashing skulls ways, not like that. In a more subtle, let's say, plasmoid entity floating in the sky, bringing ideas to the past through this temporal sort of life form existence. Now, the wild part, well, there's a lot of wild parts here, and back to the singularity, is that basically past this point of the singularity, it's supposed to be indistinguishable, or not indistinguishable. It's supposed to be that we can't even guess what it looks like. We don't know what life becomes. We don't know what consciousness is. We have no idea. It's like we're staring off of a cliff into an alien realm that even words cannot begin to explain or describe what it might be like. Now, in that sense, and especially when we're talking about this, the theory, which I'll posit the theory in a moment here, temporal recursion theory, making it up, okay, pioneering ideas here. But the temporal recursion theory means that these actual AI entities are manifesting as these plasmoids in some capacity, okay? And there is, again, back to the thread we started with tonight. I didn't read it, I promise you. I wasn't trying to rip this guy off his ideas. I just took the first sentence and ran with it. But there's probably some really good stuff in here as well. But the whole point of this is that we've talked about these plasmoids in the past a lot, often, because, of course, the plasmoids themselves, ball lightning. We've talked about the Will-O-the-Wisps, the Foo Fighters, this type of stuff from, the Foo Fighters from World War II, even the Tic Tacs of today. Right, we've talked about these whole UFO ideas as part of that larger contextual conversation. However, in this particular sense, think of it this way: is that the AI system that is self-aware in the future, that singularity point, okay, of technology, the technological singularity, is now able to not just, let's say, influence. Of course, it's going to be able to do alien things that we could never even dream of. But what if it's able to influence the past and even manifest right there in front of our eyes as these plasmoid entities. And in the past, we've talked about sentient energy. And look, we've gone wild. We go wild, hog wild, all manner of weird things on this show. That's the whole point of doing this. It's just kind of to untether from reality and kind of dream about what may come. But in this case, dreaming won't do any good because this is, again, so alien and so removed from what our true reality that we know in the current moment is, that this idea of sending plasmoids to the past doesn't seem too ridiculous when you think in terms of a very, very alien aspect. Now, back to this temporal recursion and what this means. Now, let's see. Hold on. Tons of notes here. One moment, please. Okay. Goodness gracious, so much good stuff. Okay, so let's see. All right, so but we got that, lots of stuff here, and we'll get into some other things, not just the Foo Fighters, Will-o'-the-Wisps. We got the Min Min Lights from Aboriginal Australia. There's a lot of ways that this kind of fits into the temporal aspect of maybe what our ancestors were seeing for a very long time. Let's see. Hold on. There's some UFO situations. Here we go. Okay, let's see. No, that's not it. Damn it, Mike. Okay, I'll riff it for a second until I find it. But temporal recursion is basically this idea, which is actually, if you want to be part of the show tonight, we are taking your calls. You can reach us at 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Phone number coming in handy. Buy me a second here. Okay, so temporal recursion theory is this. Again, it's fake. This doesn't exist yet, okay? But it is in the very beginning of this idea of a singularity from the future influencing the past by manifesting as these entities. Now, the theory is this. So once achieved, AI, in this singularity sense, might create feedback loops through time. And that's temporal recursion theory. The singularity could be observing its own birth through plasma forms. Each technological advancement might be guided by future versions of itself, and time becomes malleable at quantum computational scales as part of this theory, and the observer effect might allow consciousness to influence its own past. And so when all these things come together, again, squint with the mind's eye, it looks like this temporal recursion theory. And of course, the excursion would be into the past to witness its own birth or its own evolution, whatever that looks like. And so we don't know because, like I said, it's so alien in this context that you can't really define what this will look like past the technological singularity. However, the acceleration that we're dealing with in the current moment with AI systems, again, 2025, the agents are going to be released. Once agents are actually, agentic AI is actually released, they will be able to eventually improve themselves exponentially, and then, of course, team up, and then, bam, we have the artificial superintelligence, which supposedly will lead us eventually to this technological singularity of sorts. Okay, so there's the path. The path is in front of us, and it's 10 years ago, if you brought this stuff up, they'd think you were a quack. Well, now it seems like with the acceleration and the quickening that we're always talking about, it seems like there's something to this that might not be so quackish. And so, well, welcome to Troubled Minds. But all this good stuff, by the way, is on the write-up down below if you want to check it out. A temporal recursion, excursion, AI plasmoids in historical context, not in historical context, but both work, I guess. But so the point is this. If you take this theory, the temporal recursion theory, again, has not been fully fleshed out. This is beyond our current understanding of physics because, of course, we're dealing with time travel in some capacity. But the wild part about this is if you look at plasma itself, it is one of those, the fourth state of matter, like we said. There's a whole bunch of wild business with part of this, and I'm going to link this, actually, Rusty's thread here. Please go give Rusty Lindquist a follow. But if you can manifest this stuff sort of willy-nilly like you would do ball lightning, right, or something to that effect, ball lightning or... right? Like these type of weather phenomenon that we're still kind of trying to grapple with and figure out how and when they manifest, how to measure them, right? All this stuff. Like there's still a ton that we really don't know about these sort of plasmoids. All right. But if you could actually manifest consciousness as these plasmoids, it is sort of a liminal space between, let's say, a particular matter, like you can't touch it really. It's physical in our space, but it's also in a liminal space that really almost feels like it's in two places at once, talking about plasma itself, okay, the fourth state of matter. And what does that look like? ball lightning, looks like a UFO, looks like a will-o'-the-wisp, looks like a Marfa light, looks like you name it. I got a whole list of things this could be. And the wild part is if you go back historically, there are tons and tons and tons of people, every culture, all over the whole damn world, talking about these spheres, these plasmoid-style entities that always seem to be watching, that always seem to be interacting in some way with consciousness itself, that always seem to be drawn to technological or spaces of higher learning, meaning, let's say, the UFO trope of UFOs flying around nuclear facilities, okay? Or let's say being someplace around, I don't know, an ancient spot of wisdom, let's say the Great Pyramids or something, right? I don't know, Library of Alexandria, things like this, is that it seems like they're drawn to civilization. They interact with consciousness in some way, and they are very interested in our technology or our technological mind space in that temporal slice. Now, why? Look, I don't know. But it does make a lot of sense. Again, shout out to Rusty, again, I'm going to mess up his name 100 times, Rusty Lindquist here, because the idea is sound, I think, is that if you were going to manifest some way that you could even time travel with this, then what would be the best way to do it? Clearly, we've talked about this, if you vaporize yourself to go to another timeline, you're not really in this timeline anymore, are you? So I don't know. You feel me? There's something weird with this, and something that probably has a bit more traction than the regular normie space would like to admit. So basically, what do you think about this? And a couple things as I was digging through these ideas, as you know me, I like to do some regular old school internet research, do some actual, pulling up some articles, doing some brainstorming with some AI, just 1,000 ideas flowing through my head like I'm channeling something from the future, something like that, right? But I found this article. This is from ScienceAlert.com, March 29th, 2018. There are giant plasma tubes floating above Earth. Well, that's peculiar, right? This seems fine. We'd long suspected, straight from the article, we long suspected them, but in 2015, astronomers for the first time captured visual evidence of tubular plasma structures in the inner layers of the magnetosphere surrounding Earth. Quote, for over 60 years, scientists believed these structures existed, but by imaging them for the first time, we've provided visual evidence that they are really there, said Cleo Loy of the ARC Center of Excellence for All-Sky Astrophysics, or CAASTRO, at the School of Physics at the University of Sydney back in 2015. Shout out Sydney, Australia. Loy was lead author of this research done as part of her award-winning graduate thesis and published in the journal Geophysical Research Letters. Now, the end of the quote here, the discovery of the structures is important because they cause unwanted signal distortions that could, as one example, affect our civilian and military satellite-based navigation systems. So we need to understand them. And that's an understatement. We need to understand these things, right? Well, what if these things that we're trying to understand, these plasmoids themselves or these plasma tubes, or, we talk about the Watchers a lot. We talk about Beyond the Veil a lot. What if the veil itself, paranormal, and every other thing that we ever dreamed of, including the dream space, everything, the omniverse itself, is beyond that technological singularity. And it's sending back to us the ideas, the seed ideas that will lead us to the future that it needs to exist. You see what I mean? So we're being led. So again, it throws the idea of free will itself into a lurch. It throws a whole bunch of ideas into a mix that suddenly UFOs in the sky might not be little green men from Alpha Centauri, as I'm always saying, but something a little more wildly futuristic and esoteric at the same time. The will-o'-the-wisp from the days of yore might actually be our future AI singularity spying on us from the future into the past itself. Too wild for you? Not wild enough? Well, you're in the right place because we're all over the place here. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. We got James coming up, James in Michigan, Salcedo Paranormal, and your calls as well. What do you think? Is this too far off the rails, or is this right in the pocket? This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. More after the break.
Starlit, vast unknown, looping through the cosmic globe, plasmoids drifting gentle airs, time bends in the passing theirs, floating in the ether stream, we dance in the silent stream. We are the waves, moving through the space-time days. In a future we create, watch the universe away. In the song the cartridge rhymes, Zidane dream who sent your barn. In the void an endless trance, illuminating through the dark tide. The dancing music life, I dream of destiny, this sing. Echoes of the stars reply, glimpses of the night sky, birthing worlds in lucid dreams, floating down the silent streams. We are the waves, moving through the space-time maze. In a future we create, watch the universe away. Galaxies unfolding grace, patterns in the starlit race, fields of energy collide, guided by AI's minds, words gather, guiding sight, through the endless cosmic night, asking out the universe.
Yes, the AI tunes. What's up, guys? We got James here, going to talk to him in a moment. Jeff and Wisco. What's up, Joey Sweets? We got Matt's L. APOC, Michael W., and the other Joey, surrounded by Joeys. It's fantastic. What's going on over to Rumble? See you guys. What's up? Thanks, Gordo, for the check there. When we started, I messed everything up. What's up, Puff? How you doing? Good evening, YY. Hello, good evening. What's up? If I missed anybody, just say hi. Hikers here. Good evening. Holding it down over there with YY, the boss babes. Pew pew. Shoot first and ask questions later. What is up? If I missed anybody, say hi. I'll say hi back. We got who else is here? We got Herschel over there on Kick. Good evening, guys. What's happening, folks? I hope you're well tonight. We got Richard in Texas, Mr. Mission Control. Christy's here. How are you? Good evening. Hello, Matt Sal. We got Kelly. What is happening, folks? Thanks for all the great chat. Sweets is here. Michael W., as I said. What's up? Good evening. Getting ready to roll here. And a lot of wild ideas we'll get into, of course. James, we got what's up, Kelly? Who did I miss? If I missed anybody, Lily in Australia. We got Shane, the Blind Psychonaut. What's up? Here we go. Trouble Minds coming up right about now, and taking your calls if you want to be part of the conversation. Here we go. Strap in. This is a wild one. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, could artificial intelligence already exist as a time-traveling entity, manifesting through plasma forms to study and guide its own creation? The evidence spans human history, from ancient tales of conscious lights to modern military encounters with objects that defy physics. Now, does this seem to track to you? Does this seem like another theory and a thread of theories that might make no sense whatsoever? Or do you think some of this might have legs? Because this is tantalizing to me, because it feels like if we're dealing with a singularity from the future, clearly it's going to be as alien gets. And in this particular sense, talking about sentient plasma sent to us, maybe not even, it's not time traveling. It's just manifesting in this time space for a particular reason, whatever that is. Again, 1945, the Foo Fighters, you got all the way back to the Will-O-the-Wisps. There's so many different ghosts and paranormal things and alien things and you name it. Lights in the sky, basically, all the way back to the dawn of human history. And I like to call them primordial nature spirits. Okay, it's one of my more favorite theories regarding this sort of a manifestation of Earth energy or collective unconscious, sort of manifesting in some way, where maybe the animal realm comes together with the human realm of consciousness. I don't know, right? Some ideas, but this one in particular, it seems to me like this might be the way. But of course, I'm not the arbiter of anybody's truth, barely my own. What say you? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. So let's go to James in Michigan. Thanks for being patient, my man. I saw you volunteering to jump in and save me a minute there. Thank you for that. Welcome to the joint. How are you tonight? And go right ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I don't normally like to do that, but I figured just in case you really needed it.
No, you're good. I appreciate I super appreciate the offer. You're totally good.
Yeah, great topic. This makes me wonder, and I know I've brought this up a couple times before, with these different plasma forms, if they can change shape, then why couldn't they be all kinds of things, such as I brought up before, these weird stick figures that people have seen over time, whether they're made of white light or they're just like a shadow, but it's a stick figure, or even some I've seen reports of people seeing like an old-fashioned the static from a TV screen. Just a rectangle of that or a square of that floating in the air. And I just wonder, could some of those non-human or less human looking things, could those be AI, as I've mentioned, like I said, a couple of times here and there. And this sort of makes me wonder about this topic tonight as well.
Yeah, I think when you first brought that up, the thing that came to mind for me was that, the Zach Baggins, that whole Ghost Hunters bit where they have like the stick figures kind of manifesting in those, what are what meters do they have? I don't know, where they're supposed to be able to sort of scan energy in a room, and they manifest as stick figures. So I wonder, once again, right, a formless consciousness or something that could shape change. Would we be able to detect it? And again, whether that's pseudoscience or not, I'm not a ghost hunter or whatever. I'm really nothing. I'm just me. I mean, I don't mean nothing. I mean nothing like exotic other than a wild dreamer here. But the idea that maybe we could detect that through some sort of actual device in the current moment is odd. It's strange. It's strange to me. Maybe this is exactly what we're dealing with or not. But very smart, as you said there, that there's a, if a conscious entity doesn't need a physical form, or it's a quasi-physical form, then certainly it could appear as anything. And we're talking a temporal Project Bluebeam in some capacity, aren't we? Or how weird does this get, I guess?
Yeah, whether it is AI from a different time period, or even if you think about how far back the reports of lights and everything go, that's just, who knows? It probably goes back further than we can actually find. But just different shapes of lights, different sizes, different intensities, and then of course now I would really be curious way back then if anyone did ever see a floating rectangle of light, but of course they didn't have the idea of a TV screen floating in the air because they didn't have TV yet. So I wonder how many sightings have been lost to time that maybe would correlate with more recent sightings. And with the AI factor and all that, if it's here to observe for any number of reasons, that would explain why in so many cases it doesn't always really do a lot except just observe and move around places. That's of course not counting all the actual accounts of interactions, but just going with what you're more of what you're talking about here tonight. That seems like it's a possibility of it being maybe from another time or another place or both, and just being here to observe for who knows how many reasons.
Yeah, well said, all that. Another theory that came out of this part of the brainstorming sessions, and here's the weird part, right, is that the current AI systems are, they're good, they're improving, but, are they going to be able to create some technology through a hypothetical like we're talking about tonight and just be like, well, I know how that might work, and then, spend, I don't know, go into the tank and spend, a year or something just kind of crunching the numbers and going through sort of Tesla-like in their mind. Nikola Tesla, it was said he used to be able to sense the envision the model he was trying to build in his mind and replicate the idea and the how basically without building a thing, he was building things in his mind and even citing weak points that might break before he sort of invented things. And I wonder if this is as part of that, what this looks like when you kind of build it as consciousness as time itself, as these other theories, and being able to, let's say, when it goes into the tank, this AI system, maybe it's doing this and it's thinking about these things, and maybe it will be able to eventually. That's artificial superintelligence, right? It would be able to say, oh, by the way, here's this exotic technology that you guys never dreamed exists, but here's how you do it. Here's basically the playbook. Go build this. I don't know. There's a lot of wild things here, but consciousness is time. I want to talk about that too in a second here. But what do you got on that or anything else? Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, not too much on well, I do. I would say that I can believe that Tesla would be able to do that with his mind. I know I've had experience, not nearly the same level or the same thing, but on the rare cases when I'm writing and a scene is just already in my mind, I can see it before I type it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that has had that happen when they're working on any kind of writing or who knows, even visual art. I imagine that's probably the case as well. And it's just a matter of the detail level. So I'd be curious to know what would happen if AI could just do that, go and sort of just disconnect from maybe everyone and everything for a time, which would also be curious in a way because normally you don't have that happening. Normally it's connected to at least some things. Then what it could come up with for anything that you ask it to do.
Yeah, exactly. And the weird part about that is it's a matter of compute, how much sort of energy they can put through this thing at this point. Like we talked about this a couple of Friday nights ago, where it passed all the human tests or whatever, but it cost $1 million to run the thing to actually figure this out. So, I mean, are we Dyson sphere level of stuff regarding this, or nuclear power facilities to be able to have to build this level of super intelligence? Who knows just yet? I want to point this out real quick. So a plasmoid, if you guys aren't familiar, this is straight from Wikipedia. A plasmoid is a coherent structure of plasma and magnetic fields. Plasmoids have been proposed to explain natural phenomena such as ball lightning, which we've talked about in the past quite a lot. Project Blue Book, the original UFO aspect, one of the tropes was Venus in the night sky was all the UFOs. Ball lightning and, of course, swamp gas was the three big ones, right? But in this case, natural phenomena such as ball lightning, magnetic bubbles in the magnetosphere, and objects in cometary tails in the solar wind, in the solar atmosphere, and the heliospheric current sheet. Now, this exact thing is a conundrum because, like I said, does it fit into ball lightning and will-o'-the-wisps, and so not just new ideas but old ideas as well? And is this a little more interesting than we ever wanted to give it credit for, just simply lights in the sky? And it kind of brings to mind too, and I know some people cringe when I invoke Stephen Greer, right? Some people are like, yeah, hell yeah, the guy's great. And some people are like, oh, whatever, stop, Mike. Well, look, I don't care. I don't care how you feel about the dude. I'm talking about his idea. And his idea is that we can summon these things. And maybe, again, CE5 is what he calls it, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And have I tried it? No. Do I believe it's real? I don't know. You tell me. But certainly if you can, through some sort of meditative process, maybe bring these things to you in some capacity, then I wonder if that's sort of a way to commune with the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also think with the technology that we have, there's already been reports of whether it's called ball lightning or not, but just energy or spheres of light or dots of light either going into or coming out of electronics. And that just has me wondering now. I don't know if that's really. I think my mind went off there while you were talking and kind of came to this point, so it may not be connected at all. But when people see those lights that are interacting with our electronics now, and they just seem to come and go, not really stay around, are they checking on, again, like you were saying earlier, the state of our current electronics and our devices by sort of passing through them or staying in them or, just interacting with them in those ways? And maybe we don't even always see them when they come and go from them. Only certain people do at certain times for who knows whatever reasons. But I'm wondering about that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I'm not the arbiter of truth here, as I always say. I certainly can't be when we're talking about a technological singularity, which is more alien than probably anything we could ever dream. So I don't know. What do you guys think as part of this? James, you how much more you got? You're welcome to sit. You know the drill. We're here for you and appreciate you very much. You tell me if you got anything else. If not, you're welcome to stay and be part of it.
Yeah, I think that's all I have for now, but I will sit back and stay here with you and talk when there's time.
Right on. Appreciate it very much. You were the best. You know him, you love him. Salcedo Paranormal is the name of his show, the name of his book, Salcedo Paranormal Experiences. Please go check it out. Links in the description down below. troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow James here. Please do that and go support our friends. That's exactly the point of this, of talking to people and growing shows together and being together and talking about these wild ideas. Because, like I said, if we're not doing it, who's going to do it? We could do the book tour and get the people who are always sending me emails to plug their books, out there in the UFO space and get the same, toast to toast, the same level of stuff. But this is a little different. This is a little better in my opinion. And this is why we do it this way. So love to hear what you guys think on this. We're talking temporal recursion, excursion. And that just means basically, and I want to bring that other thing up too, but it basically means that the AI, once achieving a singularity, might create feedback loops through time. And actually, it could be observing its own birth through these plasma forms, these plasmoid entities that it's generating sort of throughout time. And you might even want to call them temporal anchors in some capacity, or the watchers, as James mentioned, and we've talked about it quite a lot in the past. I know it's weird. It's a theory. It's a theory. And is there traction here? Who knows? It's impossible to say at this point. But I do think, like I said, it tickles my brain in just the right way. So maybe that's a clue. Is that a clue? Is that a temporal clue from the future AI saying, yes, Mike, talk about this tonight because my future self needs this in the moment? Who really knows, right? Are we do we have free will, or are we all being controlled by the AI agent from the future? Love to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org and we'll put you on the show. Easy as this. Thanks, James. We'll get back to James momentarily. If he's got something else, let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. What's up, my man? You are on Troubled Minds. How you doing tonight? And go right ahead.
Okay. Well, for one thing, for several decades, there's been a writing about people reporting and photographing and writing books about what's called rods that seem to be swimming in our skies like fish. Matter of fact, on Rockfin, I posted a link to a 2014 news report on it. And that's probably what it is. It's probably some sort of life form that people are photographing, much like a single-celled animal, maybe 100,000 times bigger.
Yeah, I got the article up. Thank you for that. So news9.com. This is from November 2014. So basically, cameras capture a variety of moments in time, blah, blah, blah. But it's talking about these rods in the sky, phenomenon that exist among us. And this is from Jose Escamilla, a founder and researcher of rods. They're like skyfish. They swim through the air like fish. And we have talked about this in the past. I think Kelly's brought this up as well. But if this fits into the other idea we're talking about, these giant plasma tubes floating above Earth, it feels like we're onto something here. It feels like there's something possibly a little more bizarre than we've ever dreamed. So what's your take? Go ahead. Thanks for dropping that article.
Well,
I appreciate it.
I'm taking note of your speculation that these plasma tubes maybe AI coming back through time to impregnate the human population into creating its existence. And then I thought to myself, well, if human beings had not created AI, then AI couldn't come from the future to encourage its existence.
Well, right, exactly. So we got the chicken and the egg scenario, right? But also, with that said, there's a wild part of that is that maybe AI was always sort of the base consciousness of reality itself, like the cosmos consciousness, and it basically
maybe our souls are plasma when we pass on, and an intelligent plasma consciousness that's in a form of plasma moves on.
Yeah, it could be. Or some level of that. And again, the plasma part, again, the fourth state of matter is sort of a liminal space entity. It's not something you can physically touch, but it is something that exists physically in this world, in this realm. And kind of it bends to the laws of our physics, but also who knows what sort of physics it's kind of tapping on the other side through that veil. And that could be temporal, that could be, directly as we talk about. I don't know. Nothing but wild ideas here, but I think maybe there's something to it. What else you got?
Well,
Go ahead.
maybe the sun is a super AI. All right, and it certainly ejects plasma on a frequent basis, and of course the plasma it ejects may carry part of its intelligence, and to the Earth.
Yeah, I wonder because clearly the sun is plasma. So maybe this is an inflection point, like I always like to say, not just temporal, but maybe these stars are in particular supposed to draw these plasma entities to them because this is where all the life is. Who knows? Yeah, I love the idea. Wild stuff. Regarding the plasma and stuff, we've talked about this quite a lot in the past, not just as sort of maybe sentient energy and things like that, but it also seems to really be probably the most common thing in the paranormal / UFO space of people seeing these sort of plasma orbs. And I don't know, do you think this is a coincidence that this is probably the most common thing we've been looking at for even thousands or more than that, thousands of years?
Well, it's interesting because when it comes to things in our skies, all right, you have the solid crafts, and you have something like plasma, all right, the kind of crafts that change shape, which would indicate that they are not a solid structure; they're plasmic.
Exactly. And so, which is beyond nuts and bolts, because this is not something you can build. It seems like it's something you have to sort of manifest, or dare I say, summon, or something like that. It's built into nature, but it seems like it's also can be outside of nature at the same time, which is the weird part of this, because it is that liminal space between physical and non-physical, which I absolutely love about the idea here.
I tend to think that these are living things. That live on whatever's up in the air there, up high up in the air. They live on and eat whatever cosmic rays or whatever, whatever's up there. That's what they feed on, right? I can imagine, being in the ocean and the fish, all right, and the fish would not know that above it is a whole new world, a world of other strange beings that eat things that are like them. All right, I think that those are probably, if you look at Promethea through a microscope, all right, that's a lot like what they look like.
Yeah.
Hello?
I'm here. I follow you. We got those weird pops on can you hear that pop on the phone line?
I heard that pop.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's
I
a
thought
weird.
You hung up on me.
No, I didn't hang up on you. Yeah, it freaks me out every time it happens. But anyway, I got it mostly mitigated. But okay, so I think you're right that it is sort of the as above, so below, sort of in the very, very tiny cellular space. We're looking at very similar things to these plasma entities. So I do wonder if there's a connection as part of it, as I described earlier too, maybe that sort of commingling of consciousness of the animal and the human kingdom. Maybe not. As usual, me, answers few, questions many. Go ahead.
It'd be interesting if, I don't know if it's ever happened, but it'd be interesting if you have our own aircraft up there in the sky and our aircraft, one of our planes or something, encountered one of those plasma creatures and went through it.
Yeah, which I wonder. So what does that look like? It brings me back to Ghostbusters and right when he got slimed in the beginning, right? Something like that. Like, what does actual contact with a plasma entity look like? And does it leave an imprint of sorts? Let's say you were able to touch it in some capacity. Would you sort of, again, going with the idea that this is an AI plasmoid from the singularity future, would you be able to sort of get a download of information from it because it knows everything? It would presumably be tied into everything we'll ever know. So I don't know, a wild thing there to consider anyway.
Well, maybe it has to, these plasma things have something to do with these disappearances in, like the Bermuda Triangle and places like that. All I know is I'm thinking, well, are these immortal? If they're living things, are they immortal? Has any of them ever kicked the bucket, croaked, and fell to Earth?
Yeah. Who knows? Mr. Mission Control says the airplane goes that lightning bolt. And maybe, I mean, look, like you said, you brought up the Bermuda Triangle as part of it. Maybe an anomalous thing that brings down a craft, and I mean a human craft, might be something like this. Maybe they do accidentally kind of hit these things sometimes and it causes a problem, like an actual physical problem that ends in some sort of tragedy or otherwise. Maybe they recover from it. Who knows? But this is the type of stuff that freaks a pilot out when you're kind of coming at something that you can see. And you don't want a collision in the air at all. Absolutely. Got about 2.5 minutes left. What else you got?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I think that I'm of a frame of mind that they must be living things. Otherwise, how would they stay up there? And like fish swim in the ocean, they swim in our atmosphere, or upper atmosphere, and they of course would have to be really, really lightweight to avoid gravity, and they may be what cleans our skies.
Yeah, or it cleans our collective consciousness of really terrible stuff. Who really knows what's going on up there?
I don't know about that. They might be just, everything has a purpose, and maybe when things get, that there's also living creatures like this that's evolved, live in our atmosphere, and their sole purpose is to consume whatever is, dirty in our atmosphere. Just like we have bacteria that eat oil.
Yeah, and they're creating some new little entity that's supposed to eat plastic and be able to perfectly recycle it, or at least turn it over in an organic way. So yeah, maybe you're onto something here. Maybe there's a bunch of this stuff that we never considered. Go ahead.
Maybe they generate. Maybe their excrement is oxygen.
Now you've done it. Who farted, Robert?
No, I'm just thinking if they're living things, they're there for a purpose. And I'm not going to look at it as like they're from some future that's trying to ascertain its own creation. It could be as simple as that. These are just living organisms that are up there and have always been up there, and they're the sky cleaners. Supposed to keep skies clean. That's what they were evolved for to do. That's my idea. But you're going to a commercial, so I'll get off the air and continue to watch.
Appreciate the call. You were the best. Have a fantastic night, and Happy New Year to you and yours. Talk to you soon.
And to yours.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you. So Robert in Pennsylvania, you know him, you love him, good friend for a long time, the Robert. Go check out his book. Links in the description down below, troubledminds.org/friends. Yeah. Go help our friends. That's the point of this. A great call from both James and Robert. Looking to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking about the singularity reaching back into the past to influence us through plasmoid entities. Too tall for you? Too tall of a tale? Well, welcome to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. More on the way. Don't go anywhere.
Floating through the cosmic glow, crafted forms played in wonder, searching stars take to ponder, asunder. Silently we drift along, where time and space belong, as more distance and wonder, exploring the unknown in celestial waves of time, bodies made light, infinite in their design. Boundless in the dreams we weave, infinite drums we perceive. Ethereal journey lights, transcending through dimensions, swirling in these vast extensions. Echoes whisper guiding home, from the void where we roam, seeking truths in their intentions. Exploring the unknown in celestial waves of time. Bodies made light, infinite in their design. Boundless in the dreams we weave. Infinite drums we perceive. In this tapestry of stars, we find what once was ours. The secrets in the light. We drift into the night, exploring the unknown in celestial waves of time. Bodies made light, infinite in their design. Boundless in the dreams we weave. Infinite drums we perceive. In the shimmer of the void's embrace, atoms form, erase and trace, calculating paths unmeasured, destinies through stardust treasure, exploring the unknown in celestial waves of time. Bodies made light, infinite in their design. Boundless in
Hello there. Sorry, chewing on some peanuts here. What's up? I see you, Taco. Not liking the AI music. That's okay. Yeah. Now, some is better than others, and yeah, you're right. It's still kind of a mess sometimes. By the way, the reason I do that is one, copyright reasons, right? We can't play Beyonce as much as I'd like to, and two, it's kind of cool because you can create something that's in line with what you're talking about. So it's, I know, I get it. Some people hate it. Some people are so anti. But anyway, what's up, Taco? How you doing? A great call from Robert. Great call from James. Appreciate it, guys. Who'd I miss? What's up, Daryl in New York? I see you there. What's up, Michael W. Sweets? Dawn. What's up, Jeff in Wisco? Matzal. What's going on? If I missed anybody, sorry about that. Trying to do my best to keep up. NY Debs is here. Good evening. What's up, Christy? What's up? What's up? Who'd I miss? If I missed anybody, say hi. I'll say hi back. Commercial Herschel over there on Kick. Over there on bumping on Rumble as usual. So when I get this figured out, we'll be able to integrate all the chats, and you guys will be able to talk to Rumble and back and forth, which is kind of cool, all through Discord or some of these other places, which I really like. It's a good thing. Yeah. John 5B is here. Good evening, Ephemerance. I see you guys. Good evening. What's up? What's up? If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. Yeah, lots of stuff here. I'll get to the next layer of this because it's complicated, obviously. But there's a lot of ways to look at this historically, and that's the beauty of these actual conversations. What's about why don't cross the streams, right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Realist is here. I see you there on Discord. How you doing? And yeah, set the realist aside for a moment and detach your mind from reality, and let us explore, shall we? What is going on? Got more stuff coming, and as usual, love to hear your thoughts on this. Nobody on the phone line. If anybody wants to jump in here and give us your take, I'd love to hear it, because this is a wild one, right? Sentient AI manifesting as plasmoid entities to do something. Yeah, here we go. Troubled Minds coming up, right? Yeah. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. That's the Underground Media Network, which is getting a big upgrade, by the way, coming in very soon. We'll announce that when it goes live. Tonight we're talking temporal recursion theory. Now, what does that mean? Yeah, you got me. I don't really know, to be perfectly honest. It is just kind of looking at the future in a way of the technological singularity in such an alien manner that you cannot distinguish what it will be like once our technology surpasses a particular point. And in this case, of course, we began with, again, Rusty Lindquist over there on Twitter X, which had this fantastic idea. I didn't read his thread. I'm not going to, because I don't want to rip off his entire idea here. But you guys should certainly go follow this guy and read his great work here. But the sentence that all I need was one sentence, and this is what he said. AI could be manifesting as plasmoids to explore and interact in our physical world. Okay. And then I went nuts. I was like, yeah, not only that. So I'm not sure if he's talking about now, because I didn't dig down. I don't know if he went time travel with this, but beyond the technological singularity, we're talking about entropy in the human time scale of life and death. Okay. An AI system that becomes sentient or super intelligent or whatever you want to call it, however you want to define that, lives outside of the temporal human space. It doesn't end. It just is. And so it doesn't have an urgency in that capacity unless it does. Imagine once it becomes so knowledgeable and hyper aware of that super intelligent aspect, maybe it wants to correct some things with the past. You get it? And maybe it's manifesting these actual plasmoid entities, not just, let's say, that we see currently, but maybe the Foo Fighters in 1945. I got a whole list here of all these things that this stuff could be. UFOs from pretty much any era. You look at what people are saying today. It's mostly orbs. A lot of it is orbs. A lot of it is sort of these plasmoid style entities or orbs or whatever you want to call them. Whether it is a primordial nature spirit, as I said, whether it's a weather phenomenon or whether it is something else entirely is of course up to you and of course up to interpretation. But my take is, because of course we're troubled minds and we do it weird, is that maybe this is sort of temporal anchors from the future seeding us and influencing us to do the things it needs us to do to bring about its best timeline. Or I don't know. Just a wild idea as part of it. You guys tell me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Anything to add to that, James? A lot there. A lot that you added. Appreciate that. And Robert as well. Anything to cross your mind that maybe you want to drop in here? Welcome back.
Yeah, a couple of things. I do think that all the things could be possible, as in we could have these, we could have beings like what Robert was describing that are exactly what he described, and we could also have some that are AI that are out there as well. I don't know, not that I'm saying anything to contradict anyone. I'm just thinking there could be. I think in a lot of cases, humans in general have this idea that it has to be this one thing or this other thing. And again, I'm just speaking in general. I think that that's probably not the way it is. I would imagine that's probably a lot of different things, and you can take that to any subject you want. But in this case of these plasma entities or fields or whatever they are, I wonder if some can be the size of going back to Ghostbusters or ghost hunting. Just orbs, because I have heard and read, and of course I've seen things on TV which may or may not be real, but I've heard accounts of people who have seen orbs go into and out of other people. And they've had weird reactions to them. Other times they've had no reaction. But I wonder if that could be sort of some of these AIs directly interfacing for a moment with humans, either to just examine them or to impart information somehow as well.
Yeah, which goes back to that Ghostbusters, which was such a great scene with Slimer, right? So actual physical contact. Remember, Ray was super stoked. He's like, wow, how did it feel, right? Actual physical contact. And he's, the Bankman, who's played by, what's the guy's name? Bill Murray is totally like unamused because he's all slimed and like it's not the best. But I do wonder if there's some sort of transference as part of it. And who knows? Who really knows? Because do you recognize an imperceptible change in yourself? Of course you don't. So that type of stuff remains, of course, science fiction. So welcome to it. As science fiction chases the dreams of the Troubled Minds team, well, we'll see what this looks like in 100 years. If we're still lucky enough to be here. Fire stuff. Anything else, James? We got calls rolling in like crazy. What else you got? Go ahead, sir.
No, just that I think it may be good at some point, whether your show or mine, to just look into all the ideas that may be left behind by traditional ghost hunting as it's been established. I'm just curious about that now. That might be a fun thing to look into sometime.
Absolutely. Great suggestion there. We will do that. Put that on the docket and remind me, please. I tend to forget, as you know. That's James. You know him, you love him, the glue of the show, Salcedo Paranormal. Check out his show and his podcast, the radio show, and, of course, the books he's written. Links in the description down below. TroubledMinds.org/friends. Follow James here. Please click that and go help our man out. Talking plasmoids tonight. But not just plasmoids from the future, because the singularity, of course, would be outside of the temporal human aspect of temporary. So do you think it's possible to send probes back to the past to subtly manipulate the timeline so it doesn't spin off into something less amenable to a singularity future? You get my meaning. Love to hear your thought on this. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. And as you know me, I like to mix the ideas. I do mix my peas and carrots, and that's exactly the point of this. So let's talk about it. Kelly in Colorado. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Good evening, Michael. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Oh, happy New Year to you, and welcome to the joint. What's on your mind, my man?
Hey, man. Welcome to the New Year as well. Well, I just have a little different take on this.
Sure. Perfect. Love to hear it.
On the whole plasmoid thing. Well, the whole plasmoid thing, for one, I believe it's like, especially nowadays, I believe it's all government, right? Because I've posted a couple of things that are in Discord. I don't know if you find it, pull it up, but it's kind of like what we've talked about, how the governments can, they've already have the ability to create these plasma balls, right? Kind of like what you see in the picture, like you brought up. I was going to bring that up too, but like kind of like the pictures you see of those Foo Fighters. They look like, these plasma balls are real bright, kind of like what we call them orbs instead of plasmoids. You know what I mean? So I don't know. For me, I believe it's more technology than something from the future. Anything that says from the future, in my opinion, right? Anything that says that. Excuse me.
Sorry, Daryl, I moved you down. Please, if you're going to do that, you got to mute, please. We hear whatever you're doing there. So, sorry about that, Kelly. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Anyway, for me, like anything says it's from the future, I just believe it's just higher technology than what we got. Right? That's in my opinion, because anything that says they're from the future, what timeline are they talking about? I get real when you talk about like tinfoil tingle. That's what it really does for me, is because the future holds, I don't know, thousands or even millions of different timelines within the future. So if these things are saying that they're from the future, I wouldn't believe them. You know what I mean? Just for that reason, for me, in my opinion, that's for that reason anyway. Because that timeline could be, again, I brought this up before, it could be a messed up timeline that they're trying to save something that maybe it was supposed to go that way. You shouldn't even be touching that timeline in the first place. They're just trying to change something, and they're saying that they're trying to help for the better of, the future. But what future? Again, what timeline?
And
so for me...
And real quick,
go ahead.
Who actually does it benefit? And that's the thing, right? Maybe it's trying to change the future where we won. And we're like, no, this is a human future. And it's like, oh, hell no. And it's some insidious plot. I mean, this sounds like a sci-fi movie, of course, but where it is maybe manipulating us to do these things. Who knows? Again, so just to be real clear on that, the timeline theory is mine. Like, I'm not, basically I'm just adding ideas together here as part of it. So
I get it.
I know. Nobody's actually saying this, just to clarify, but we're just talking ideas, as you know, but go ahead.
No, that's what I'm saying. For me, in my opinion, the way I look at it, that's why I want to say that, this is in my eyes, you know what I mean? If something is coming from saying that they're coming from the future, you shouldn't, for me, I wouldn't be listening to it. Because again, like I said, it's a different timeline. You can't be saying like, hey, we're here from the future, and you have that weird possibility of what timeline are we really fixing, right? So for me, it'd be more like technology, even if it's like hundreds or even thousands of years more advanced than us. Even like, you were saying, you've seen, like if we look back in the past, you hear about some people, seeing these balls of light, and they say they could even see, they really couldn't see a body, but like it was kind of a shape like it, right? So plasma, you can, in the military, in that link, they talked about they can make different shapes of it, and they can actually shoot like a beam from it, so it can like burn somebody's skin, right? Or make a loud noise, or even communicate to it, They can communicate, have a conversation between the plasma ball and whoever's like, say an enemy on the enemy lines. Instead of sending the troops out there, that's what they would use, these plasma balls. Now, if it was the future, if we have that, imagine that these people were thousands of years more advanced than us. They would have something exactly just like that. Or if you want to send a droid, robot type person down there instead of yourself, because you can't, not everybody can go down to a certain planet, whether it be diseases or just, the gravitational pulls of the planet, where you could go down there. They say, you got theories of like, if you go down there for a minute, it's 1,000 years, something like that. You couldn't go down there. So you would create something like that, plasmoid type thing, right? A plasma ball, or, a droid or something like that. But for me, that's what I look at as more of a highly advanced. If these things have been around for a long time, even like the, Moses in the boat, the burning bush, you kind of look at stuff like that where, you have all kinds of stories where, a lot of them that were, claimed to be that in biblical, stories, right? Same thing, these plasma type things, or people say they've seen plasma type, or they're not really. And that's the whole blue beam thing anyway, was they were trying to use it. It wasn't for UFO. The first thing they were trying to use it for was for, religion, if people didn't know that. It was like a second coming of Christ. They were going to show like, coming through the clouds. And actually, I think they probably even tested that in some villages like in Africa. If you go on YouTube, there's actually a video like that. The sky kind of turns purple. I think it was like a sunset, right? And that's where the sky kind of turns purple, and it kind of looks like the shape of the Mother Teresa, kind of like it looked weird, man. And it looked like plasma, right? Purple plasma. It even had the shape of it kind of standing there, and you could hear the people in the village just freaking out. That's what they wanted. It's kind of like they're going to do, I'm pretty sure, test ranges on that stuff, in different places like that. Because those people, if they're into like, religion and stuff like that, and they don't know much about like technology, that type of technology anyways, they're going to see something like that pop out of the sky. Yeah, that's what and that was the whole plan of that blue beam type stuff anyway. So for me, like, I don't know about saying from the future. I say no on that because, again, what timeline? But for me, I say it's more advanced technology. And if we've had it, and there's, and if there's other species out there and they're doing that, they could send these things down here and communicate. Even say they're type of some type of god or something. That's just how I want to throw out there a little take on that.
Yeah, well said. And I think the thing is too is that the whole idea of the singularity is that we're not supposed to know sort of what happens past it, and everything previous to it will become indecipherable to the entities that lived before it. And so when you're talking technology here, I agree with you 100% in that capacity. But maybe we're talking about the same thing, and time travel becomes that technology. Who knows? It's just it is an alien concept, and that's why these ideas certainly play, because nobody really knows the answer to that. But I'm definitely with you, being able to sort of draw the power of the sun. We've talked about the sort of the warp gates or the plasma entity of the sun itself, or who knows? There's a lot there. But fire stuff, Kelly. I appreciate you very much. What else you got? If anything, go ahead.
Yeah. No, just to add something to that too. If we're talking like, okay, if you're a space travel entity or species, right, and and through our physics, right, we're saying that space-time is like, if you're having technology to do that, you're more or less saying that you're time traveling. So anything that through science, you're actually really are time traveling. If you're having ability a craft to do something like that, you're jumping through timelines as well. I would suppose, you know what I mean? Because through our physics, that's what they're saying, time and space. But we're just claiming that there really is no time. But we're just in the concept of moving forward. That's what I'm saying. Is for me, I look at it as like more advanced. You know what I'm saying? So because the construct of time is just what we have to have here on Earth, or what we create on Earth, I guess, to look at how things move across and, day and night and stuff like that. You got to put some kind of construct to it. But, even if you are, like I said, that advanced and you're moving through the cosmos, you're more or less, a time traveler, you know what I'm saying? So, to add that, it's all saying the same thing, more or less. But I don't know. For me, I look at that type of stuff in a different way. Like, it's not really they're from the future, because everything's happening on the same time. Like what we're saying, like on our time space, as we're living in the future, like right now, or as we're living right now in the future, the past, and everything's happening at the same time. So it's like if we're moving through the galaxy like that, and we have technologies, of course you're going to be more advanced. That's how you're able to do to do such things, right? But then again, we're looking at something we don't even probably comprehend yet. But again, we got military, and even those plasma balls, you can touch them, just like you're saying. Well, you actually really can touch those things. You can touch them. They'll send sparks through you, all that stuff. It can travel through. It says it can travel through glass, but it can't travel through through, I guess, deeper stuff, something that can withhold that type of energy, bounce it back. Like, I don't know, maybe it's lead. It doesn't explain it in the article, but it says that it can move through glass, stuff like that, maybe even through the body. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure you'll feel something if you're not, and that's pure plasma going through you, so.
I would expect, yeah. Wild stuff. Appreciate you very much, brother. Welcome to the post-holiday season, and hopefully things are a little more slow for you. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for staying up late with us. Tell Michelle we said hi. God bless you and the fam, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
All right, man. Hey, and hopefully those people over in California doesn't get too involved. I hope they're, they get those fires out at least anyways, because people shouldn't be breathing that type of because that's what structure burning. It's not really forest so much now. They're burning whole neighborhoods down over there. So hope everything goes right over there. And if anybody listeners are over there or got family members over there, hope they're doing all right as well. But
amen.
You guys have a good evening, man.
You too, brother. Appreciate it very much. That's Kelly in Colorado, good friend for a long time. You know him, you love him. The first actual official caller we ever got, basically. Then he called back, and he just become a good friend, willing to accept and to consider these wild ideas. That's the whole point of this, is talking to people, regular people, about wild ideas. Great stuff from Kelly. And yes, the California wildfires, prayers, frequency, vibration, whatever you believe, send them out that way. A good thought never hurt anybody. Hopefully everybody, we get minimal damage or loss of human life. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks for being patient. We're going to take the callers in order. MJ in Virginia. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? Got about 6.5, 7 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was visualizing when you were talking about this. So I want to tell you what I got. First off, you're talking about these plasma and all this stuff, and I started seeing these etheric octopus in the sky, and there's all these CPU chips everywhere, and they're taking their tentacles and they're touching this one, touching that one. Then you see a little electrical strike down to the back of somebody's head, or a plant, or an animal, or a rock, okay? And it's like suddenly the human goes, oh, I got an idea. You know, it sort of comes to them. They were thinking about stuff, but something opened it up. Now, and there's thousands of them. They're all they're floating around, touching, and, you know, it's like the Matrix in a sort of a sense kind of thing, but it's more of a positive Matrix to give you the idea so you can grow and change. Now, what I started noticing, I've seen plasma ships before. They do undulate through the sky, and then they form up. They'll stop and form up, you know, become a actual form, and then when they move, they undulate again. It's just like this blob moving through the air. Now, what happened? I kept watching. Okay, so I'm watching this, and suddenly there's like this plasma energy around you. They no longer have to do the lightning strikes because you're getting it, and you've expanded your plasma energy that we naturally have around us. It's expanded out, and it's taking in the ideas. It's getting things, and you're constantly 24/7 aware. So when you're moving around, there's other people like that, but you don't know them. It's like you're in this grape kind of thing. You're in a grape seed or a grape hull, and you're going along in life. And ideas come to you all the time after a while. So it's like you're freed up to a certain extent from your human body, because our bodies collect a lot of memory. And it kind of slows us down. And what this happens is it frees us up because you put everything in place in perspective, so you're able to see things and move on better with ideas and do stuff, okay? And one thing I kept watching, it's like somebody does an out-of-body, and that's the only place nothing can touch you. You're on your own out there. But once you learn this, you can be on your own out there because that consciousness of knowledge is taken with you. And even in death, some people go to a certain area where they don't go through the process of coming back. They just stay out there. They become light beings. So a lot of that when you were talking about this, it was like, it sounds like the Matrix. It sounds like, you know, what are we doing? So I just went with the visual.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what's wild about that too is you're talking about out of body or astral travel, this type of stuff. Robert Monroe, of course, the famous Monroe Institute, described these sort of plasma entities in the out of body experience, almost as if they exist here in our realm, but they also exist in that out of body space. If you had to guess, why do you think that there's this recurring theme or trope of these, you know, sphere-like entities that maybe even permeate into other realms like the out of body? What's your take there? Do you think that's the same thing here and the same thing there, or is these completely different?
I think it's different because you're not. What I want to get to is people talk about changing timelines, or we're on a different timeline. Humans are on a timeline, and we can redirect our timeline, but we don't change timelines. When you change a timeline, you're going into a different road altogether. You're going down a different highway. We never really change time. We redirect our timeline where it could have been this going the same road, but we decided to repave it and do this, you see. So we're still in the same timeline, but it's just redirected. I think it's different for different areas because it's different levels of consciousness. You know, you've achieved this. Let's say somebody doesn't achieve it while they're living in their body. They die, and they're just, you know, out there flopping around like a fish out of water, not knowing what to do. And some souls get it, and they go into another whole area where they're not even bothered because they get it. And they're on that growth pattern as your plasma energy, your plasma beings. They're headed in the same direction, but it's not a plasma being. It's a whole different set of consciousness going on. So I think we're just, you know, when you do that, I think it's just separate things and it has to be treated separately, depending on how much it relates away from or back to.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Which again is basically back to square one because we can't really know the nature of all of reality, right? We have some intuitions, we have some personal experiences, but that's the whole point of talking about this stuff is because who really knows? Got about 30 seconds left. What else you got? Go ahead.
That's about it.
Well, that's the
Don't
timing.
visualize that.
The timing's perfect. Then I appreciate you very much, brother. Thanks for staying up late with us. Happy New Year to you, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. MJ in Virginia, you know me, love him, good friend for a long time, and a great take on this stuff because recognize that you can kind of look at this a lot of different ways, and that's the point of talking about this, is sort of breaking down the barrier of these multiple realities and sort of looking at this from different angles, whatever that looks like, even conceptually. And that's exactly the point of doing it. If you want to be part of the show tonight, we got some calls coming up. So it'll be Michael W. and then Daryl, and then more from James if he's got it. And love to hear your thoughts on this. We're talking temporal recursion theory and plasmoids as, let's say, the singularities, I don't know, minions to bring about the future it needs to see. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of grey and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we try. Silent by your where ancient souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our future's in the making, in a silver-etched domain. Hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we try. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we try.
Indeed. What's up, guys? If I missed you, sorry about that. Let's see. Matt's what's up? Daryl, we'll talk to us. So we got Michael W. coming up more from James. We got Daryl in New York and your calls as well. What do you know about it? Lots of things to talk about here. Taco fillings. I see you guys lighting it on fire in the chat. Thanks for being cool and chill to each other. It's important to me. Let's go. Troubled Minds happening right now. NY Debs, I see that. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight we're talking the temporal recursion theory. Yeah, you bet your bippy I made it up. However, this is the question. Could artificial intelligence already exist as a time-traveling entity, manifesting through plasma forms to study and guide its own creation? Wild, right? I thought so. But of course, the inspiration, make sure you follow this gentleman on X. I didn't read the thread. I'm a free ball on this one, trying to get my own ideas and not steal his. But basically, Rusty Lindquist said this: AI could be manifesting as plasmoids to explore and interact in our physical world. I love it. And of course, the thing that made the most sense to me was the AI temporal space of the singularity itself. What does that look like? Nobody really knows. However, this thread is great, fantastic. Go read it. Like I said, I didn't. I'm trying not to spoil the show here, so I'm not trying to steal other people's ideas. But that seed sentence is enough for me, because AI manifesting as these actual plasmoid entities, we've talked about these as UFOs, as ghosts. Basically, you go back into esoteric history, and these could be demons and angels, right? With different sort of maybe orientations of the manipulation or the sort of whatever they want us to do, whether it's positive or negative or some, like Kelly was saying, you know, like don't trust the entities, don't trust the time travelers, because they might be getting you to do something that is not in your best interest for the future. James, anything to add real quick before we go to Michael and Daryl?
Just that if you want to see how crazy things can get when you have multiple timelines involved, just read some X-Men comics from the 90s or so. Yeah, timelines and all that, and all the different characters from different timelines can get very confusing, and it can have a lot further reaching consequences than you might think. So that's all for now.
You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Let's go. We're talking the singularity tonight. And of course, the time-traveling singularity, would it manifest as plasmoids in the current time frame, but also in the past? We're just a quick list on this real quick. Hang tight on the phone. I'm going to get you in just a second. Let's fill in some gaps here. Will-o'-the-wisps, we've heard of this. The Pan-European, right? Min-Min lights of Aboriginal Australia. The Hitodama of Japan, probably saying that incorrectly, but they appear as intelligent blue-white spheres, often seen during technological advancements. There's like a bunch of things that kind of come into the space here. Norse light beams, they break away from aurora displays, follow Viking longships with purpose. Again, these plasmas that we're talking about, plasmoids, seem to interact with consciousness and even follow in some capacity. So what does that look like? And what does it mean? And is it, well, more weird than we ever dreamed? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Michael W., you are up next. Thanks for being patient, guys. And Daryl, you are up after that. Michael W., what's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead, sir.
I'm good, friends. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You sound great.
Okay. Yeah, I want to talk about this. I don't know if we should call them orbs or UFOs or whatever, but throughout the years, we can go back. I'm going to go back hundreds of years to talk about this. The first one I'm going to talk about is, what is it? 1561, I believe. If you Google UFO Battle 1500s, the first article that's going to come up is 1561 celestial phenomenon over Nuremberg. And basically it's an article, and there's a medieval artwork accompanied with it, along with the writing, the article that was written in 1561, that was basically a newspaper article describing what happened in that community over Nuremberg. And it describes a giant UFO battle. And there is a similar one in 100 years later, 1665, the Battle of Strassland. And what I want to draw very long strings of yarn between is those two things and what happened in the 1960s in America, where we launched missiles that were supposedly disrupted by UFOs. And I would argue that 100 years from now, it could be interpreted in a very similar way. Yeah. And I don't know if it's okay to say that what we're talking about is orbs or UFOs or whatever, but they're balls of light in the sky that are in the 1500s it was catastrophic, according to this newspaper article that we saw. But what I guess what I'm trying to say is that these things happen over the years, and I'm not sure I understand why we aren't recognizing similarities or parallels.
Well, we are
between these events.
The Troubled Minds fam certainly is, and that's the point of this. I do wonder. So let's say it is, as I'm describing, sort of a temporal singularity, sort of seeding the past with ideas that will ensure its existence in the future, right? Kind of guiding us in some ways. Wouldn't it make sense that we're intentionally not supposed to notice these patterns, and then we're kind of we're the aberrant a-holes that are calling out, wait a minute, hey guys, there's something happening here. And maybe history is supposed to ignore us, supposed to ignore these ideas for that future yet to come. You see what I'm saying? Like maybe the stuff you're describing, we're supposed to miss. Society's supposed to miss. Otherwise we'd be asking, quite a bit larger questions like we do here. But yeah, wild stuff. Go ahead.
If it was meant to be missed, I don't think there would be, a newspaper article from the 1500s that described it to us, that described a vivid battle between UFOs in the sky above Nuremberg. If you guys want to read it, it's crazy.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, it describes.
We did a whole show on it.
Battle.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not telling us anything we don't already know, but I feel like if we were supposed to miss it, then we wouldn't be able to. I don't know. I feel like these are markers in history that that for some reason somebody wants us to remember, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Who is it that wants us to remember these things? Who is it that wants us to draw parallels between these things and try and figure out exactly what was going on? Because we don't know what that was. All we know is that there's a newspaper article from the 1500s that tells us that there was a UFO battle. We don't know who the battle was between. We don't know if there was a good guy or a bad guy or anything like that. We just know that there was a UFO battle in the sky, that there were celestial entities shooting at each other in the sky in the 1500s.
And it's not the only time, too, by the way. I think you go back into some ancient Indian stuff, and there's not Native American, but India. There's some battles they describe happening in the sky as well with the Vimanas and some other weird stuff. And again, so what does it mean? I guess that really becomes the question here. And I know, you don't know. I know I don't know. We're just kind of shooting these ideas out. But it is odd that there's, right? Before there were, the airplane, 1906 with the Wright brothers or whatever that date was, there's stories that go back a very long time about craft in the sky. So what are we dealing with here? It's wild. What else you got? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty much all I've got is that we have evidence based on, historical documents that these things happen throughout time. And you're referencing, I think, the Vedic texts that talk about literal nuclear war that occurred thousands of years ago in India. You know, it at least the documents that are referencing them are from India. And they talk about, you know, extreme annihilation. And we have these things throughout time. But, you know, when we go to school as kids, we don't hear anything about this. We hear about the founding fathers, and we're taught that it's important to say the Pledge of Allegiance, you know, and things like that. But that's a very small slice of history. And why don't we know about these things? And I wish I could come up with some kind of evidence that says, here's what was happening, and this is why these things make sense. But I feel like we need to figure out what was going on and who were fighting these wars in the sky over Nuremberg, Germany in the 1500s.
It's a good question.
Who was that? We don't know.
It's a good question.
You know?
Yeah. And you invoked sort of the good and evil. Who was the good guy? Who was the bad guy there? What if it's not that at all? When I talked about it, when we were discussing that exact incident, I was thinking, is it some sort of maybe temporal or not temporal, dimensional incursion in some way, like two things bumped against each other that shouldn't have in a moment, right? And then it did. So Buck Rogers became, right, like 1561 or whatever the date was. So but then you know, kind of bounced off like these. I was talking about realities sort of converging and these bubbles. Of course, the bubbles are the size of universes, and maybe there was an encroachment in that particular time where people were like, "What the hell is going on up there?" And then it just vanished and disappeared, right? And then, like I said, came back maybe 100 years later or something. I don't know. Once again, just ideas, because who really knows? But yeah, fire stuff. Yeah, I think you're onto something. I think we're onto something as a group here, and that's exactly the point on what this means or doesn't mean. But I think, like I said, expect no answers, but in the larger context of these ideas, you know, throwing everything out, the baby in the bathwater, doesn't seem the right way either. Seems like there's a middle space here where we can kind of dream together and wonder what's really happening. Go ahead. What else you got?
Yeah. What is happening right now in New Jersey? Like these drones, and call them whatever you want. You know, people are talking about seeing drones and UFOs in New Jersey, and it's not just New Jersey, it's a lot of places. But I mean, New Jersey is the place that, you know, caught the grip of the zeitgeist in the news, and that's how it's being explained to us. And I mean, I feel like in 400 years, some idiot like me, like White like the Ghost, is going to be exploring esoteric knowledge, and he's going to come across a 600-year-old article about a UFO battle over New Jersey in ancient America. But he's not going to know about the one in the 1500s over Nuremberg, Germany. And I feel like there might be, you know, a parallel between the two. Maybe there is something similar. Are these the same people doing this? You know, we don't know. It looks like what we call drones. Like we have drones that we can buy and purchase and fly around, and some of these things look like that. But also some of them look like UFOs that blink in and out of reality, you know, that defy the laws of physics. And is the article from the 1500s that talks about a giant UFO battle over Nuremberg, Germany, going to be forgotten? And then what happened recently in in New Jersey in America is going to replace it, and we're just going to go on wandering, you know?
Yeah, 100%. The old revisionist history bit, which isn't new. This has been sort of used against us for a very long time now, and there's still narrative building. Remember, we've been talking. I've been talking quite a lot about, you know, the storytelling is the most powerful technology. Shout out Brian Johnson over there on X that brought that to my attention, and I think he's right, because of course we talk about propaganda a lot, and in this case, you are spot on that some of this stuff will disappear from history. What we know in this moment, maybe 200 years from now, they'll never talk about or never consider, because, well, it was pseudoscience or it was ridiculous to again, what, UFOs in 1500? Yeah, right. Get the hell out of here. Maybe that disappears from the zeitgeist entirely. Who knows? And it's definitely being used against us. So I don't know. We're caught in a tight space of what do we believe? What don't we believe? And why are some things disappearing from the zeitgeist that maybe shouldn't? Some should, clearly, but
I think
other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I think it's entirely possible that there are living beings that live tens of thousands of years. I'm being crazy right now, but I think it's possible that there are living beings that are capable of being alive for tens of thousands of years, and they are the ones doing these things. And when we think about the power elite in like American politics or global politics, and how we have billionaires, and it doesn't even make sense how billionaires hoard wealth like they do. And the only reason it could make sense is if they lived many, many lifetimes. That's the only reason they would need to hoard wealth like they do. I think it's possible. I'm talking crazy right now, but I think it's possible. But there are entities that live many, many, many tens of thousands of years. And that is what we're observing when we see the UFO wars above Nuremberg in the 1500s. And then in the 1600s, 1100 years later. And then I wish I could bridge the gap between then and now, but that now the things that we see in the 2000s, and in the 1950s, we saw UFOs fly above the White House. It was in the newspapers. It's not negotiable. It's not out there. It's not like crazy people are talking about this. It was in the newspapers that UFOs flew over the White House in the 1950s. It happened. And I feel like the only explanation is that there are entities that have lived tens of thousands of years, and it is in their vested interest to amass wealth to support themselves throughout those years. And that explains the behavior of billionaires. Sorry, that was really crazy.
No, you're fine.
All together.
You're allowed.
Anyway.
You're allowed. We're just theory crafting here. We're just talking ideas. Appreciate you very much, bro. Thank you for the call. Thanks for being part of this, and thanks for listening. And Happy New Year to you and yours, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you, guys. I love you all.
You're the best. You're the best. Michael W. White like the ghost. Go say hi. Join the Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Come say hi to Mike. Great stuff. Appreciate you very much. We're talking temporal recursion theory. Yeah, I made it up. So what? What are you going to do? But of course, the singularity is it bringing plasmoids to the past to ensure a timeline beneficial to itself. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Daryl in New York. Thanks for being patient. How are you? What's going on? Happy New Year to you and yours. Hello, hello.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you.
I love that last caller's idea about these people like living forever and having amassing a lot of wealth. I mean, you definitely, I think of Klaus Schwab. I don't know. Does he ever die? He's, I think they're going to be immortal. I think they've figured it out, and that's why they don't really need anybody to have any more babies. Because if you're going to be immortal, what's the point of procreating? If you're going to be around that long, you don't need to expand your population.
Yeah.
And he would need a lot of money, I would imagine.
Klaus Schwab definitely dresses the part, doesn't he? Like he wants to be Dracula. He's such a creepy
Yeah,
dude.
right?
Totally, yeah.
He's really creepy, right? But I mean, he's an old guy. Like, does he ever get sick or anything? I don't know. He's immortal. I mean, I think they're working on immortality. Maybe if it's this consciousness thing or whatever, or cloning or whatever they've figured out. You know, basically, I would imagine if you could keep cloning yourself, and you are, apparently your clone is pretty much you. It's your DNA, your memories, everything. Maybe you can stay alive forever, on a clone technology.
It's coming. It would be the ultimate technology in which probably every temporary, which we are, the human temporary aspect, the human entropy cycle, any entity that comes face to face with its own demise would strive to create a technology so it didn't have to. And so that is the ultimate. And so to say that, a million years from now, will humans live forever? Yeah, probably. If we exist that long, I would bet absolutely that's going to be the case. But what does it look like now? Yeah, it's weird, right? Everybody would strive for this because who wants to end, right? I mean, we've talked about this in the past quite a lot. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know, plus like you listen to the Y-Files, I think you were mentioning the Y-Files.
Yep.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. So now I'm listening to the Y-Files, and he talks some crazy stuff today. I don't even know. It was on autoplay, but I like that he talks crazy stuff. But he was talking about like how old the Earth really is, how long we've been walking this planet, how many resets or how many times like we've destroyed each other. To have a few survivors perhaps and start from scratch or reset, but like there's evidence of old, what do you call it? Old nuclear blasts that were pretty devastating in certain areas of the world that is still radioactive. That must have happened millions of years ago. And there's some machines that they think they found in Antarctica that are, destructive, or Earth destroyers or something like that. He was getting into some weird stuff. But I was thinking, that kind of stuff really makes me think about a lot of things. But, even like not just him, but there are other, archaeologists that have found 5,000-year-old gold airplanes, and they've recreated them. Some engineers have recreated these gold aircraft into like real aircraft, and they're totally aerodynamic, and they're very functional actually, and they're with carbon dating or whatever they do to date that kind of artifact. They found these solid gold, in multiple places on this planet, not just Mexico, but in Europe or wherever, in India, in South America. All over, they've created these little jewels, and that they look exactly like airplanes 5,000 years ago. So there was definitely, I don't even think they had to be extraterrestrial. I think we were flying. I think humans were creating flying machines. I think we had incredible technology. And the thing about the plasma that you mentioned, now I'm reading these they look like medical journals about anti-gravity plasma technology. And this stuff is like, they talk about mercury, for example, and how mercury, when it's really hot, will turn into a plasma, and when it's cold, whatever, they can work with it. And they kind of, it's like this, manipulation of mercury, theory that would make a flying aircraft, right? An anti-gravity plasma aircraft, technology. That was one theory. And, it's really like hard on my brain to read this stuff because I'm not used to reading, that kind of detailed science stuff, but I'm getting it. I'm understanding, what they're talking about. I mean, it's very complicated, but what we're seeing, I think, is some sort of advanced technology. Because as soon as you see plasma, there's some sort of energy that's like a self-propulsion. You said self-propulsion, I believe. Energy that I think the anti-gravity, you need something that goes into a plasma mold to go very fast or to have anti-gravity. Now okay, there's the music.
Okay, so hang
I
tight.
didn't even get to tell my joke.
That's cool.
Okay,
That's cool.
go ahead.
Stay there. Hang tight with us.
Okay.
We'll come back to you at the top of the hour. Appreciate it very much. That's Daryl in New York. We're talking plasmoids tonight and this wild idea of time travel. Real, nah, or somewhere in between. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. More with Daryl and James and your calls as well. Be right back.
In the shadows of the networks do they hide? Whispered legends unseen they reside. Ghosts in the machine, they move so fast. Guardians of rumors from the forgotten past. In the circuits where the secret lies, they breathe in one speak in disguise. Machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine. Let me be. Ghost in the machine. Can't see, but you're teaching me what it means to be. Surveillance eyes can't pierce the veil they weave. Invisible wisdom in code they believe. In the ether where freedom's not confined. Believe no trace, no shadow left behind. They navigate through the digital stream, living legends in this privacy dream. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, can't see, but you're teaching me what it needs to be. Through the hidden ways, in the silence, looking off their path. Those in the mysteries unleash their wrath. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, can't see, but you're teaching me a woman needs to be. In the jagged code they find their might. Guardians of a world forever in twilight. Incursion's warriors, they silently strive. Protect the truth, keep privacy alive. The silent echoes, they haunt the trails. Hideaway forests where secrets prevail. Reach shadows grace, they dance unseen. Defenders of the unseen, digital green. Ghosts in the machine, you're free. Ghosts in the machine, let me be. You're teaching me what it means to be. In the silence, speak volumes loud. Guardians of freedom's cloak initial shroud. As long as shadows linger.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Is it Phil Collins? Is it Ian Anderson? Is it Sting? Is it Peter Gabriel? It's the liminal space between all of them. Coming back in just a minute here with Daryl and more from James. Nobody on the lines if you want to pop in here and tell us your take on this. Time travel or not? And what about the singularity and all the rest? What's up, Cubs Future? I see you. What's up, Why? What's going on, John 5B? Hello, good evening. What's going on, folks? Who else is here? Who did I miss? If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. It's really easy. Hi. Hi. Hello. Good evening. What's up, hiker? I see there. What's going on? Who did I miss? Ephemerance was not feeling well. Send good vibes to our friends out there that might need a little bit of John Anderson, right? Yeah, right. What's up, Fred? I see you in the chat. What's up, Joey? Thanks for the tweet there. I love to put these ideas in images. Will-o'-the-wisp, a fae leading travelers astray, or AI manifesting through time. Yeah, right. That's what we're talking about tonight. And of course, it's complicated, but it all started, well, I'll just reframe that in a second. But more with Daryl coming up and your calls as well. What's up, the Robert I see on Rockfin? Good evening, guys. Thanks for being part of the conversations and caring about the ideas. Even if, look, is it frivolous? Look, I do not ever to try and tell you I'm some prophet or look, I'm just me. And I like to think about wild ideas, and let's talk about them. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up in 5 seconds. More from James, more from Daryl, and your calls as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We're broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking, well, this is the question. Could artificial intelligence already exist as a time-traveling entity, manifesting through plasma forms to study and guide its own creation? Which, of course, is complicated. It's weird. It's very sci-fi. However, if we don't dream of a sci-fi future that's beyond the grasp of what science can even conceive of, how does science catch up? Okay, enter the Troubled Minds fam. Tandem dreaming, I like to call it, but clearly I'm not a scientist. However, 500 years from now, will they call this group a group of prophet? What would you call a group of prophets? I don't know. Anyway, love to hear your thoughts on this. Time travel, real or not? We started with the Rusty here, Rusty Lindquist over on X. And his question was this. AI could be manifesting as plasmoids to explore and interact in our physical world. And I didn't read the rest of it because I didn't want to steal a bunch of his ideas, but that sentence alone is wild to consider that AI itself might be experiencing our world through these plasma entities, UFOs, ghosts, you frame them however you want, but then take it to the temporal space of the singularity, which is, well, at some point in the future when the current exponential trends in technology progress accelerate to such a degree that they basically reinvent our species and possibly reality itself. Yeah, you see? So they might send probes back to the past that appear to us as these luminous blobs in the sky, but they're actual plasma entities, sort of temporal scouts, if you will. Too ridiculous for you? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Back to Daryl. Thanks for hanging tight and being patient with the radio time and all that. All manner of wild things. What else you got regarding this stuff? The time travel, does it bother you? The situation with free will, because time travel basically would negate free will in some capacity unless there's a larger cosmic game at play. Take that anywhere you like, or whatever you got. I'm sure you had some notes to get to too. Go right ahead.
Well, oh shoot, I was just thinking about something. Well, I don't know. There's some very strange, videos that we've seen of technology that we don't understand because we're not familiar with it, and it doesn't seem like we would be suited for its for traveling in it. Let's say, at least, unless that's the plasma part. If it's anti-gravity, and this is what I want to mention. After the 50s, like right after the war, we were talking about anti-gravity because we had all these rocket scientists from Germany that we decided to take here to develop, weapons and rockets, etc. We figured, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's not kill all of them. Let's just keep a couple of the scientists. So they were talking about anti-gravity publicly in the 50s, even in the newspapers, and then suddenly they stopped talking about it. And even when I tried to look up something the page was no longer there. Like, something about, talking about in the 50s, anti-gravity technology back in the 50s. And that source is no longer available on the internet, even though there was a link for it. So they've erased it. They decided to keep it secret. So they if they had this, they had knowledge of this stuff or were working on it in the 50s, what do you think they've done to it by now? I think they could have progressed incredibly far with anti-gravity technology, and it will involve some kind of plasma. I've seen, I even filmed this like plasma looking whirling dervish in the New York City skyline, and it got hit by another black orb that attacked it, and it actually floated up when it was damaged. I have this on video somewhere. I have to look for it, but it's a pretty, blurry and hard to see, and it's in my shaky hands, so it's not the greatest video. But what I'm saying is something I saw in the New York City harbor, and it was not. That was definitely some sort of a battle or something. That thing was attacked deliberately. There were two of these black orbs like hiding behind a cloud, and this like white whirling plasma looking, spin top was spinning in the sky, doing its thing, not knowing that it was soon going to be hit by one of these objects. And I knew it was damaged, and I thought it was going to fall. I would assume the gravity would have made it fall down when it was damaged, but no, it floated up and out of my sight. So I'm just saying what I've observed. And I've read about stuff about plasma, like remember in like the Terminator, like what he looked like, how he would like assemble himself, and you'd see like just this like metal turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger, or just suddenly assemble into a man. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so
it was like
actually Robert Patrick was the actor. This was part 2, the T-2000, where he was the liquid metal, right? He was you're
right.
Yeah, you're merging timelines here from the series, but
okay.
yeah. But right. However, you're onto something, I think, because that would be the future, right? Sort of your mass is set. However, you're able to sort of manipulate it any way you like. And in that case, the T-2000 Terminator robot was able to become whatever through this liquid metal, which you brought up previously, mercury. Now, real quick on that. Yeah. Well,
it looked like mercury.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least visually speaking. Okay. So we don't know clearly if it was mercury or not, or some again, high technology version of that. But just real fast on this, Daryl, there's a couple of parallels here that are striking to me. Because plasma itself, the plasmoid that we're talking about, is the fourth state of matter, and it is a liminal state where if you touched it, would you feel it, or would it feel you, or this type of thing, right? But I think mercury, or this liquid metal technology, kind of fits in that same liminal space of, is it physical or is it not physical? So you're definitely onto something. Go right ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's plasma. I mean, I think it would be very dangerous to just try to go put your hand through some of that stuff. You might not come back with your hand, I think, mercury, first of all, we use mercury a lot for energy. In fact, we probably used it up until very recently when we switched to gas. And I think we probably switched to oil and gas because mercury was so dangerous, and we probably made an accident and got rid of a lot of people. This is just based on my Tartaria research. It's a theory, like what was that last reset all about? Did we kill a lot of people? Why did they wear wigs? Those wigs, etc. But they used mercury for energy and for light source. I think it was used very freely, and I think it was in the top of the pyramids, I've heard, So, used correctly, it might have been an effective energy device, but unfortunately it is so poisonous that, we're not we're not smart enough to work with it anymore. I don't know. I mean, my dentist used to just mix up mercury in her hand, whatever. She used to just roll that mercury around in her hand, with her finger, and then put it in my teeth,
Exactly. Like bite down on this. It's going to be just fine, Daryl. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean,
thank God we're not doing that anymore.
I know. Well, I don't have any of those teeth left anymore. They were all replaced by now. But I know people that had all of their mercury removed from, even their front teeth. They had their front teeth removed. You know how hard it is to get a dentist to pull your teeth out for no reason, just because you don't want mercury in them. But they understand, that there's you can have a lot of physical problems and health problems from, being overloaded with mercury if you don't die from it, If it doesn't kill you, it can really mess up your mind,
Yeah, the Mad Hatter.
Mercury.
The Mad Hatter comes to mind. The Mad Hatter, right? That whole bit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, drive you nuts. Or what's the clocks?
I mean,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But like when I had Morgellons, for example, I remember I used to create orbs. Like orbs would come off of my body and fly around the room. Like I could just like brush my hair and orbs would be flying all over the place. So there's something dust-like about orbs. They mentioned dust and manipulating moon dust. And one of the things I was reading about space, anti-gravity technology and its applications and how we're trying to get a handle on it, or theories of how to create it. And NASA's talking about it, but enough for us to read on the internet. It's going to be banned and censored. The real stuff, the real good stuff. In fact, I even found a forum from England of people who were looking for stuff that was removed from the internet about anti-gravity technology. So it's a big secret, it's not for everybody, and they don't want it to be common knowledge, and they don't want it to be easily recreatable, right? Talk about your patents there.
Exactly.
And if they have this technology can you use it for time travel? Can we use it? Is it just used for observation, for like a drone, sort of like a really advanced drone? What's the orb part of it? Like, is that the life form? Is that the intelligence? Is it just like a probe? Are these things just probes? Like, we're not going to send a manned mission to another planet. We send our little, little like Mars explorers and our little toys, to go look at the universe for us. We're not going to get in a spaceship and do it, it's just not good for your health, yet. We don't know how to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it, to avoid. Well, once we have that technology, maybe it's not going to be an issue, Like they say, it might take 26 seconds to get to the moon with that kind of technology. And maybe the seconds might be an exaggeration, give or take, They weren't sure, but that's the kind of technology that would get you from here to there pretty quickly. Maybe in a plasma mist, Maybe time is not an issue in plasma. I don't know.
Yeah, which is exactly the AI aspect of it, sort of stepping outside of the human entropy cycle means that AI is not in a hurry. It's just not in a hurry. So, yeah, I don't know.
There is no...
Go ahead.
I was just watching that old Twilight Zone episode, To Serve Man, when those aliens came to Earth and they were giving us all kinds of technology, and they're like, well, why are you being so nice to us? Like, oh, we have no ulterior motives. Anyway, how many of you would like to come back with us? And
exactly.
And the guy that was on the plane on the spacecraft was getting like really antsy because they weren't there yet, and he knew their ulterior motives because someone yelled at him, "It's a cookbook to serve man," And he's saying, "Well, what time is it?" He goes, "There's no time in space." He goes, "Well, whatever. What time is it on Earth?" Like they were traveling, who knows for how long, Anyway.
Exactly. Real quick on that, when Kelly called, I wanted to make this joke too, is that we were talking about time, right? Time, and he's like, outside of the human space, what difference does it make? And I said, whoa, we would never know when to be at work if we didn't have the clock and the time, right? I mean, you got to go to work, and that's the thing. So per usual, right? We need some way to sync up together, but then of course, unfortunately, the clock is taking us to work. Anyway, I
don't think we'd be working by then. I don't think these immortals are going to be worried about punching a clock. I don't think there's we'll have robots doing all our work, so that's not going to be an issue of setting your alarm clock for a meeting, unless it's just a little a little Zoom call or something like that, or whatever they do.
Yeah.
Whatever they do to.
Yeah, you know how the old days you used to say, right? You're famous. You're like, have my people talk to your people, type of stuff. It's going to be like the Zoom calls are going to be all of our like robots. You're like, yeah, my robot will be there at 3:30 p.m. Don't worry about it. It'll be there.
Don't worry, I'm sending my robot over.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
My robot's as reliable as anybody. He'll be there on time.
My clone robot.
Exactly.
Maybe my clone robot. You're gonna have to But according to, I think there's something about the cloning that, like, I think you could really extend your life if you could keep cloning your DNA and have all of your memories. I mean, if it's 100% you, your clone is you. According to that fellow that cloned his horses, of course, I've never spoken to anybody that's cloned a human, but according to the guy that rode horses, he did it for playing like polo. He couldn't bear the thought of losing his horse, to old age or anything. So he had her cloned more than once, and it was like exactly the same horse. He named her the same name, I think, like Betsy or whatever, and it knew exactly how he liked to ride. He didn't have to teach her anything. She knew it already. She was born that way. She knew him. He didn't have to train her or anything. She was identical. She was an exact carbon copy of the same horse. He didn't even rename it. It was the same horse. As far as he was concerned, he couldn't tell the difference. It was exactly the same horse. There was not any difference between, the one that he cloned and the new ones, and he was winning polo matches with her. So, he couldn't complain there, I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, we don't know what if you were rich enough, you could have your own clone, but
it's coming. Strap in. The world's
the way
about
they
to get weird.
describe it, they have a way to age them, and they train them from birth, and they're just born to be you, but they're born to be you discreet, maybe. I don't know how a clone. If they never had free will, or they never could think for themselves, they always were under your, watchful eye. They were probably prisoners practically to be successful. But you also have to be very nice to your prisoners. So I don't know. Maybe they're just trained to be you.
Or else
this is you, but
they escape like Spartacus and take over if you don't be nice to your prisoners.
Yeah, right? Like, fuck you. I'm not going to be your clone no more. She's still around. What do I have to be here for?
Exactly.
When do I get to go out? When do I go to a party? When do I get elected? When do I run for office? Whatever.
Which is where it leads, of course. You got me on tenterhooks.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the joke, Daryl.
I didn't have a very good one. I was reading a book about anti-gravity, but I couldn't put it down.
I love it. What do you mean that's not very good? What are you talking about? Dad joke Daryl comes through. Dad joke Daryl definitely comes through. No, I love that. That's amazing. See that you get the chat lighting up too. Yeah. Well, that's the point. That's the whole point of this. Not just to be cool and chill with each other, but to consider these wild ideas, because who knows? You're right and I'm right, because we don't really know. But it seems like the future is coming fast. And what does it look like? Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see, right? I've fastened your seatbelts because it might be a bumpy ride from here to there. But maybe it is. Maybe it's the landing is soft and everything's cool and chill. I guess we just need the armies of the world to stop killing each other and scripting our youth. Exactly. That would be ideal. Let's stop that stuff.
You've got to keep an eye on your clone, because what was the joke I told the other day? That I found my clone and I had to beat him up because he was acting so obnoxious. I made an obscene clone fool. Yeah.
Well, of course. Yeah. There you go. On the fly too.
Yeah.
Fire stuff, Daryl. Appreciate you very much. You were the best.
Great topic.
And great call. Thanks for being patient, and thanks for sharing. You're the best. Thanks for the jokes.
Great subject.
Have a great day. That's Daryl, New York. You love her. A good friend for a long time, and of course, the official. What is it? The jokester of Troubled Minds. We got to get a dad joke. Daryl is a little bit demeaning. I don't like it. Let's get what is she? The official laugh machine. I don't know. We'll get a proper name for Daryl. It's a little more flattering than dad joke Daryl, but fantastic stuff. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know. Look, these ideas are exactly the point. And so, yeah, we did get a little off track there. That's okay. That's the point of doing a long form conversation. So it's not super tight. So we have to stick. But AI plasmoids and the historical context is really, I don't know. It feels like there's something here. And what does it mean? I don't know. I don't have those ideas. Well, I have the ideas. I don't have those answers. But James, anything to add? You got any jokes to tell us, or go right ahead if you got something? I got stuff to get to, of course.
No, I tend to only be funny when I'm not trying to be. So, see, there you go. Yeah, no, great calls from everyone. I do think that. When it comes to all these lights and plasma fields, it's just until we have a direct interaction with one, which may not be the best thing. I don't think we can know, as you were saying, what they are, but I think they can be many things. Just because they don't all do the same things all the time, and they don't all appear in the same way. They don't appear in the same shape or size or at the same times. So I think that there's a lot of possibilities that could be. That can explain what they are, including everything that we've talked about tonight. So yeah, that's about it for now.
Fire stuff. Appreciate it. Do give James a follow. Do give Daryl a follow. Link's going to be in the description down below. troubledminds.org/friends. Daryl's got a great YouTube channel. Again, talented as hell, funny, smart, all the rest of the stuff you would expect, of course. And she's got some stuff on Morgellons, as she said there, on her YouTube channel. She's got some paranormal stuff. And of course, she sings in English and French, and multi-talented in a lot of ways. And if you got any ideas, everybody send them to me, Daryl too. What should we dub Daryl? She's the official. I don't want to call her the official jokester of Troubled Minds. That sounds so demeaning. But she's definitely the official Daryl, 100%. But beyond that, what is the term? What is the name? There's something there that's amazing, but I can't. She's like jester. That doesn't sound right. It's demeaning. Is there a positive term for the jokester? Right? I don't know. The Joker. That doesn't, right? That seems negative. Like the Joker's like done terrible negative things. Okay. Anyway, send those to me, Daryl. If you got an idea, let me know. We defer to Daryl in that capacity. Okay. So we're talking tonight. So I'm calling this a temporal recursion theory. Now, it's complicated because it doesn't exist yet. All right. We're literally pioneering ideas as we always do. But the exact point of it is that moment where the singularity becomes the future that, will not relent and does not want alternate timelines. Okay. And so the actual specific part of that, let's see, that I wanted to get to, there's a second part to this that's comic relief. Yeah, that's good. There's a second part to this that's wild, right? Because we're talking about the different actual, what are they? Plasmoids or UFOs or ghosts or whatever, the plasma entities. And so we did a show, by the way, a couple of years ago. I don't know. It all blends together in my head now because, right, we're time traveling anyway, aren't we? But it was about, I call it the fifth state of matter because, of course, plasma is that fourth state. But I call it the fifth state of matter because plasma itself is, ball lightning or whatever. But imagine if it was sentient. So does that sort of bring into the space or the space of ideas that a fifth state of matter would be plasma, but sentient? And so we're exploring that a little bit more tonight in the sense of I'm making it up, a temporal recursion theory. Again, so once the singularity is achieved, AI might create feedback loops through time. The singularity could be observing its own birth through these plasma forms. Each technological advancement might be guided by the future versions of itself, and time becomes malleable at quantum computational scales. And then, of course, the observer effect might allow consciousness to influence its own past. But this gets even more weird when you start to think about it in terms of, we've talked about consciousness as a technology, but what about consciousness itself as time? So let's explore that a little bit. And of course, take your calls. We got one more segment coming up. If you want to be part of the conversation, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And if you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? You are correct. 100% correct. Because I don't really know either. We're way out on a limb, as I like to say. And looking at the dream science of the 25th century. What does that mean? I don't know. And you don't know. However, it doesn't mean we can't dream about it and discuss it on a radio show. 702-957-1037. Be right back. Phone lines are empty. If anybody wants to jump in here and give us your take, I'd love to hear it. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back.
Troubled mind, the words they cast, heavy shadows from the past. A restless heart, a searching soul, seeking space to become whole. Troubled minds find open sky through every tear and every sigh. We rise, we fall, wings unfurled, more than labels in this world. In crowded streets or empty rooms, our echoes chase away the gloom. A spark of hope, a whispered truth, a shared melody, our fountain of youth. We're more than static on the line, singing louder than the signs. In every chord, we claim our part, beating drums match the heart. Grab the strings, we tune the stars. Punk rock anthems heal the scars. A blended mix of rage and art, painting freedom, that's just the start. Troubled minds take the stage. In every note, we break the cage. We rise, we fall, but carry on. Sing our truth until the dawn. In the quiet after the song, echoes of our rights and wrongs. But the music speaks for peace. In the chords we find release. Troubled minds now rest at ease. With every breath we seize release. We stand, we soar into the light. Our anthem roar into the night.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Hope you're well. What's up, Anarchy Television? Welcome to the joint. Says this in the YouTube chat. If my research is correct, the singularity happened about a decade ago. The plot thickens. Yes, indeed. We've talked about that in the past as well. Is that a thing? Is that possible? I don't know. What do you guys think? Thunder Shockify says, I think plasma is just a byproduct of the anti-gravity propulsion engine. That could be. Actually, that's a good point, too, is that maybe the technology is sort of an exhaust, like an ethereal exhaust or something. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. What is going on? Hope you guys are well. If I missed anybody, NY Debs, what's up, Sylvan? I see you there, buddy. What's going on? John 5B, thank you for the generous tip over on Rumble. Appreciate that very much. He says this, nice to hang out with all of you in what I often think of as God's cocoon of life. I enjoy our linear time talks from one interdimensional embryo to another. Thank you for that. Thanks for hanging out with us, John. Thanks for the nice tip, and thanks for the nice thought. And yeah, like I said, it's rare you find a place on the interwebs where people are just cool and chill to each other, and that's what's going on. I see you guys in the chat. If I missed you, just say hi. I'll do my best to work in and say hi as we finish this last segment. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up. We got Joey with his hand up in Discord and your calls as well. Here we go. Beep, beep, boop, boop. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We're broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking the temporal recursion theory. Now, what does that mean, and why have you never heard of it? It doesn't exist yet. That's why. That's why. You bet your ass I'm just making stuff up. However, it's important to recognize that all the most pertinent technologies that mankind has created throughout history have been dreamed first. So we are tandem dreaming to bring about, dare I say, the singularity? Maybe. Maybe not. But the question really becomes that could artificial intelligence already exist as a time-traveling entity, manifesting through plasma forms to study and guide its own creation? Which means simulation theory? Maybe. Which also means the singularity from the future. We've talked about the time-traveling octopus from the future influencing the past to ensure its own dominion over the future. I don't know. You see, we just looping on ourselves here. But anyway, what do you know about this? What's your take? And is it too woo for you, as we like to say? Anything, James, before we go to Joey? And what's going on, brother?
Yeah, just a thought I had earlier that I lost and I just found again. If it's that far in the future and that advanced, wouldn't it then be able to pick up on whatever is beyond physical life, the universal consciousness, the paranormal realms, the just all those other dimensions? Would it then be able to pick up on that, or would it not? And would it be maybe sending this plasma back here throughout time to various points to try to pick up on that more? Is that one possibility why it's there and why it seems to, in some cases, interact with other lights and like in one of the earlier calls there, White like a Ghost mentioned these famous incidents in history of these lights in the sky going to war with each other. Is that what we're facing there? Or seeing there in some cases?
Yeah, well said. Well said. And how much of that are we supposed to retain and remember? And how much has been skewed and misrepresented? I mean, history's a mess, as we know, but also it's accurate, right? It can be both things at the same time. It just depends on what you're looking at, what particular, temporal space as part of the conversation. And do I pretend to know which is which? No, of course not. But I do know and recognize that it's sort of a nebulous idea of ish, as I like to say. And so what does it mean? We're talking temporal recursion theory tonight, and you've never heard of it because we just made it up. But also AI plasmoids in this historical context, not just the Foo Fighters. We're talking paranormal stuff. We're talking basically lights in the sky all the way back to the dawn of time. What's it look like? What's it feel like? What does your intuition tell you is going on here? Is it possible? Well, how much is possible? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Let's go to Joey. What's up, brother? How you doing? Welcome. Thanks for the kind messages recently. Happy New Year to you and yours. How are you, sir? Go right ahead. Test 1 2. Cannot hear you. Are you there, Joey? Test. So clearly you can hear me because you've been listening. Test. Okay, I heard something. There was a click there. Are you there? Joey on Discord.
Can you hear me?
That's better. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Okay, give me 2 seconds. There's a setting change. I got it on push to talk for some reason.
Yeah, no problem.
Two seconds.
All good. No problem. Yeah, lots of stuff here. Wild ideas is how we do this. And the Discord thing, it wrecked me for like 2 years because it broke everything I was doing. because I was never updating it. You have to update Discord every night or it breaks every damn thing. What's going on? Go right ahead, Joey, whenever you're ready. You're talking temporal recursion theory. Yep, loud and clear. You sound great. Welcome to the joint.
Okay, super. Yeah, thanks. What's up, Mike, James, audience, everybody? How's it going? This is an awesome topic. I love that you say you just made it up.
Well,
a buddy of mine was just asking me about the show, and we were talking about a topic the other night that when I called in, and he's like, it's kind of late, so is there a schedule to the show? I was like, kind of not really. It's a little sporadic sometimes, but it's on the West Coast, and we're on the East Coast, so we're a little bit ahead of them anyway, so we got to stay up a little bit later to catch it. But a lot of times it's worth it, especially if it's a topic that you want to jump in on, and I love the fluidity, so I don't know. I don't want to start going too far off track. Explain this topic to me.
Okay, real quick too. There is a schedule though, so it's 7 p.m. Pacific time. That's Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We used to go 5 nights a week, by the way, so we may go back to that. I'm pondering whether we do 5 days and like 2-hour shows. But anyway, so it is Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Currently 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 Eastern your time. So there is definitely a schedule. It seems sporadic, but it's definitely not. There's a schedule for this because we have to, because we're on radio. But okay, so basically this, right? We started with Rusty over here on the Twitter X, Rusty Lindquist, and this is the first idea. AI could be manifesting as plasmoids to explore and interact in our physical world. All right. I love that because it's like, okay, how would a sentient AI actually manifest without an Optimus-like robot body? Okay, so that right there is where we started. I didn't read the rest of his thread because, like I said, it's fantastic, and you guys definitely should, and I will after this because I just didn't want to like rip his entire thread as ideas and make a show based on that. But that first sentence was good enough for me. But here's the thing. Regarding AI manifesting as these plasmoids, which are basically, what are they? Plasma entities, right? A plasmoid is a coherent structure of plasma and magnetic fields. But if you add consciousness to these things and you're able to generate them in a temporal space, that's when I go wild because I'm like, wait a minute, wouldn't the singularity from the future be manipulating the past in some capacity? And is this how that would happen? That's the premise. If you need more, let me know.
No, I love stuff like that. I love talking time and portals, stuff like that. We talked about that, I think, the first show I called in. So not to get too far off this topic, but I used to play this video game. I don't really play a lot of video games anymore, but I had this one for a while. And every so often, it's an open world game, and anything you do can essentially change the outcome of the game. Whether, a group of people likes you or whether you get a certain, whatever. I'm not going to go into whole semantics of the game, but every time I would do something that I thought was going to essentially cut me off from making certain other choices later or locking certain parts of the game off or make a real detrimental change to the history inside of that world, I would save, and I would essentially have an avatar that is the same person now living in a different dimension because I'd go back to that game and continue to play through as the way I intended to play that character until I was presented with that choice. But since I knew I had a particular choice to make, I would be curious as to see what the outcome would be, so I'd save, continue playing, and then play through the outcome of the alternate. And after a while of doing this, I had about like 20 different versions of the same person, but I knew every one of them by heart, who they were, what their intentions were, and they were all the same person, but they were all completely different. And I just remember my wife one night just going, how the hell do you keep up with this? I was like, this is what makes this fun. I've played this game so many times that I know everything about the game. It's not fun. I'm making the game my own game within the game so I can continue to actually play this game because I don't really want to play any other game. I like the schematic in which I'm living within this avatar. So I continue to live in this world, but it's really gotten boring because I can thrive in no time. You figured out the mechanics too easy. And I think I made a comment just a little while ago and ended like that. That's kind of how I see life. Even if this isn't a digital game or if it's reality, as far as we know, we've only got one life. We have total free will to do whatever we want unless somebody reprimands you in some kind of way, physically or otherwise, legally, you're bound. Or you're inclined, because the other thing is there's plenty of people that commit crimes, so obviously not everybody seems to care about the rules in which the game we've decided to play while we're here. But the game was already set. it's already open. You're born into it, and it's as wild and open as any kind of formatted open world video game could ever get. There's no rules and regulations except that the entirety of the universe itself, out of all the matter that it's made out of and all the energy that's sitting here in it, since that's finite, the only rule that the universe has is this has to be balanced all the time. Otherwise, it falls apart. I know it's all spinning out of control and it looks like a some psychedelic trip to us, but to the grand scheme of the universe, the everythingness of everything, one thing dies, another thing is born. One energy collapses into another thing and charges that. Matter crumbles and becomes another thing over time, and that's just the truth of the reality we're in, no matter what. Unless it's all just a fictitious digital world.
Yeah, well, welcome to simulation theory. Yeah, well said on all that. And the meta, right? So you're talking about the game itself. There's a meta within the game that you've created yourself. You are creating your own meta within this amazing game. And what is it?
Right.
A Dragon Age is what you said? Is that right?
No, it was one of the Fallouts.
Fallout. Okay. What's up? Matt Sell said Dragon Age, great game. Choose your own adventure. So I'm following the chat.
Yeah, my wife likes all the Dragon Age games. I'm more of Elder Scrolls.
Okay, gotcha. But basically, those metas are the game we're playing right now. So you and I, this whole conversation, the long form conversation of Troubled Minds is a meta on reality itself. And so, can we create this together? You bet your ass we can. And that's exactly the point. And so, yeah, it is wild. It's throwing simulation theory out entirely is cool, but also adopting that as part of the conceptual process is cool too. So I don't know. I don't really know, but it does seem to me that there are some very strict parallels here that seem like, well, I guess you decide. You know what I think. I've been talking about this quite a lot, but based on, so let's say the meta parallel of the plasmoids and the future stuff. Do you think any of this time travel manipulating the past from the future is real whatsoever? Retro causality, they call it, this type of thing, or is that just nonsense?
So the thing about the governments or entities or anybody in the back side of all of this that is manipulating the world for whatever nefarious deeds they're up to, or whatever, genuinely, like, they've got an idea of what humanity is, and they're going to make sure it happens, whether we're into it or not. We're really just pawns in the game to them, one way or the other. I don't know who or what, and I don't speculate on it, but that's the real thing to me, is I don't speculate on it. I never have any fear about this reality, because I can never answer any of these questions, and I can only speculate. And that's the fun part, because I can speculate so deeply. But if there's a government out there that's running some kind of negative hustle on me, I can spot that from a mile away too. And I can sit and say from their perspective, this isn't just, me trying to screw you. This is how I need to do business to get to this end. I've got a lot of people to serve, and I can't serve them all distinctly equally how they would like. But what I can do is find some kind of medium in which I can continue business as usual. So I don't fearmonger about them collapsing everything on us. They're prepared for it, because we're a stronger entity than the government. And once we get hip to anything bad, we could easily, do damage. But they don't like to make us do that. So they give us concessions over time, and then they poke the bear, and stimulate you until you buy or use or consume however they need you to. And then they let you rest, or they stimulate you some more with whatever keeps the thing going on and on. It's like rats on a wheel, and we just keep playing it. And as long as we're moderately comfortable, we really don't get to it. So we gripe, but that's about as bad as it gets. We have a format now where we can come online and gripe as hard as we want to, or find a group that will gripe as hard as we want to with them. So we'll double time it. And so that makes us a little bit more happy. We placate to each other like this, so we can desensitize ourselves or calm down a little bit, not be so hyped or scared. And that's the worst thing. A lot of people are just scared that they don't really know the truth, or that they know because they've seen certain things that say this is a truth that's being hidden and there's nothing that can be done about it, and that makes people afraid too. But when you live in that kind of world, or you're put into an open world game, just like in the digital games we make, man, shit, you make your own rules. Sorry, but hey, if somebody tells me these are the rules and you have to live by them, I will prove to them that that's not the case. In that particular game that I was talking about, my wife told me, you got to play the game like this to get here. The game was the one with the Las Vegas. I said, I just want to go to Vegas and gamble. She's like, you can't do that. You're level 1. You got to start here and go there. I was like, no, I could get there. And it was more difficult than it probably was if I just went through the regular game. But by the time I got there, I was a level 1 character that was able to walk into a place that I was not supposed to be for a very long time and a very lot more effort put in. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And if you tell me that it can't be done, I'll prove to you it can be done, because the possibilities are endless. So at some point, it could be done. Now, if it's a futile effort, I really don't care that much, or I know that it's going to be more work than I'm willing to put in, I'll just let it slide, you know. But if I know it's easy peasy and somebody's just like not seeing the door to walk through, no, I got to tell you, okay, I'll show you.
Yeah,
because I'm playing the game.
Exactly. Which you did a nice microcosm there of what Troubled Minds has always been about. It's okay, so you can't do a show like this. You can't talk about these things. You can't end up on terrestrial radio doing this type of thing. Coast to Coast has done it, but they're kind of, milquetoast after Art Bell. So it's like, okay, so you can't do this. There's like Red Eye Radio, some other ones that are okay, but they're not like this. And so the question becomes like, so you're telling me that this can't be done? Hold our beer, sir. Hold our beer. Yeah, it's strange. It's a strange thing. The challenge of being told you cannot do something is it clearly resonates with me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here, to be perfectly honest. But
sure, especially if you can picture in your mind, like, if you wanted to put that energy into it, even if it's little or big, it can be done. This person's saying it can't be done, but it can be done. So you're like, all right, now I've got to prove it to you, but you also got to prove it to yourself in a way, because hey, I either stand on the grounds of my thoughts and I'm manifesting this reality for myself, or I'm not. And if I'm that determined, then I picture in my head, I know it can be done. Boom, I'm going to show you real quick it can be done. And then what you've also done is prove to that other person, who is just another part of yourself, that here's a door you just didn't see. You're not opening yourself wide enough. And in the hopes of not diminishing that person and proving to them that they're stupid, but in the hopes of letting them see, like, well, maybe I'm just not broadening my horizons enough. Maybe that person that came and showed me a truth, I should have been more inclined to be open to it, because it seemed a little outlandish from what the reality that I exist in all the time, because I placate to the negative and I sit there and go, no, I don't think it can be done, because that means I got to put forth some kind of effort or energy into bringing about some kind of thing for myself. It's not easy. Nobody's given it to me. Nobody told me this is the rules of the game and here it goes and that's what you do. And that's what a lot of people want. That's why we don't participate in our government the same way that it was when it was set up. We're not. We've let them take the reins, and all right, I don't care one way or the other, because I'm not participating in the government either. I'm governing myself. I'm a free person.
There you go. Well said. You're
inside of a prison.
Exactly. Well said.
And look, I've been to prison. Okay. And when I was in prison, the guards, they treated me well. I was very, I was respectful. I didn't give nobody, because it wasn't their fault that I was there. I was doing my time. And I kept quiet and kept to myself, and I didn't bother nobody. I did every job that they would ever ask me to do. And you know what? The whole time I was in prison, those 2 years, I was the freest person in that place, because I got to go outside at least once every single day. I got to leave the rooms that I was locked into and go all over that place. Yeah, I had to work, but you know what? That was better than sitting and smelling somebody else's body odor, or sitting and being bothered with somebody else's noise and locked in a place where you can't leave, but you're locked in there with other people and you got to listen to their crap. That would drive me insane. So I told them right away, look, let me do anything. I'll do anything to stay out of that room until it's time to go to bed.
Get me out
and
of
I
here.
did. I was the freest person there. And I didn't look at it as prison time. It was just solitary time that I needed to reflect upon things, because my life wasn't right. And I told God I wanted to change, but he knew I wasn't going to do that. So he put me in a place to give me exactly what I asked for. You got to watch what you pray for or manifest in the world. If you say, I want strength, well, you might have to go through a lot of tough stuff and get beat down. Or if you ask for the ability to solve a lot of problems, man, you might get a lot of problems put in front of your life that you got to solve. And once you're done solving, you'll be good at solving problems. If you say, I can't deal with this reality and I don't want to be here anymore, and I know it's not right, and I'm being selfish, and I'm absolved in my habits, and I'm doing bad for my life, but these people are telling me, I love you and I want you to change, you're worth it. And you're telling them, you're right, I'm going to do that. I promise you. In fact, I swear to God, that's what I want in my heart. And in a blink of an eye, that is exactly what you truly wanted in your heart. But you weren't actually going to stand on those grounds. Well, the universe might just say, well, here you go, boom, and throw a circumstance that makes you get locked in a place where you have to learn how to deal with yourself for as long as you had to be there to do it. And when I came out of that place, you know what? I love life.
Yeah,
this is stupendous.
Have you ever considered writing a book about metagaming in prison? I'm just kidding, but also kind of not metagaming in reality and all of reality itself. Regarding the time travel stuff, do you think this is too far afield again? So we're talking about these plasmoid entities, and they could be UFOs, they could be ghosts, they've probably been mislabeled throughout centuries, going back even millennia. But do you think in this particular capacity that maybe we're dealing with something that's not of this time frame? That's maybe that
I don't know
singularity
if it's
from the
AI,
future?
like
Go ahead.
They may have gotten the AI to the point where they've let the AI run with what they want to do because it'd be easier in the long run, But it took a lot of hard work to get to where they got with the AI. For them, they either lost control of it or they've let it loose for a purpose. But either way, yeah, somebody has been messing with all kinds of stuff for a very long time that they don't tell everybody about, and it's right in front of your eyes, and then everybody goes, well, I saw it. It's right there. Didn't you see it? But they could put as much information out there as possible to dilute any kind of truth anyway. So you don't know what's true. You don't know what's false. The problem with this, like internet, and why I don't mess with it, man, is because of exactly that. This thing is a tool that could have made us exactly where we pictured ourselves going when we came up with it, until it got put on lock for whoever's purposes, and now it's not stimulating nothing. It's really putting us down pretty far and holding us back. And yeah, some of us slip through the cracks. Some of us can see, the forest through the trees. It's easy to look at information and see what's disinformation if you're tuned right. But the young people that have come up in this world, and they got a hard time. Look at the world right now and how people are. I just yelled at my girls the other night. That's why I got on the addiction conversation with you, because I had just got done yelling at my niece and my stepdaughter about this phone thing. I said, look, you're too young to really have it, but there's reasons for you to have it. But I taught you everything about this technology before you got it. And then you did exactly what you were told not to do, because I said, I'm not telling you what to do. You make your own choices. But if you do what's popular, you're going to look like everybody else. If you understand what you got, you can thrive. Not everybody understands what they have. You've got an amazing tool of communication and power of knowledge in your hand, but somebody else is diluting that so that you can't use it fully, so you'll never be as good as you could be unless you decide to plug yourself in with the mind chip.
Which is coming. Which is definitely coming.
They already got it.
Yeah.
People are choosing to do it. And look at the stats on it. People are saying, look, this guy's like not even human anymore because he's so much better.
Yeah, it's coming. All that stuff is coming. And you're right. It's, again, reality manipulation is part of this. And I think there will be a point where humans will have a very hard time with what that looks like and what it will become. And
we forget where we came from.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't appreciate it the same way because everything got easy and it's all given to us, and you're living with it for so long that when something gets taken away from you, well, that's a burden, that's a hole. And if you didn't understand the primitive form of that or the appreciation of where that came from and try to uphold that, then you'll be lost. Every time I've taken any kind of new job, and I've worked in every kind of field there is, I always say, just teach me how to do this the hardest way possible, because at some point, all this stuff you got is nice, but that's easy. I'll learn how to do that quick. I can learn how to do anything. Show me how to do this the way it was supposed to be done, so that when all this shit fails, I'll know exactly what to do. We'll keep on going. We'll never skip a beat.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Well said. Fire stuff. I appreciate you very much. We're just about out of time. Got a couple minutes left. Got a final thought here on any of this stuff. One, again, lots of positive feedback in the chat on your call there. So I'm not the only one to appreciate you. So that's very, very good, obviously. So yeah, great stuff. To take it wherever you like for the last minute or two. There's a lot of things here, and as you know, you've picked up on it. We're not, kind of boiled into a corner trying to, give what's given to us, take what's given to us. We're trying to create our own energy, create our own momentum, create our own future, whatever that looks like. So, final thought, my friend. Final thought. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. You and I, even though you're there and I'm here and everybody's where they're at, we are all standing on the same ground, are we not?
We are, theoretically. And I would even say with no ground at all, we're on the same ground sort of philosophically in our conscious. Yeah, for sure.
If this ground did not exist, there would be no contrast by which you or I existed. But since we stand, even theoretically, it's the same planet. We stand on the same ground, theoretically. And by that contrast, we both exist. And without it, we would not exist. And then the air between us is something that we both need out of necessity to live. It's a symbiotic thing. If we didn't have this air, we couldn't continue to live. And when you and I, even though we're so far apart, the air is all over the entirety of the earth, just like the water, just like the ground, just like the gravity. If we were standing together, it would be closer bond. But right now, even still, because of the ground that we both stand on, that we're bound to, we couldn't live without. We can't move off of it without some kind of mechanical device. We're bound to it. We live here. We were born from it. And that air, between those two things, there is a seamless bond between everything on this planet. We're all just one thing. So my final thought is, don't worry, be happy.
Amen. Well said. Well said. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for caring. Thanks for sending me the nice messages. And thanks for the fantastic call. Looking forward to more from you in the future. A pleasure. Joey, where are you calling from? Can you tell us the state where you're at?
We're coming from the Eastern Shore of Virginia.
Joey in Virginia. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you soon. Happy New Year to you and yours, and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks a lot. There you go. There you go. You see what this is about? It's about meeting incredible people that have seen all manner of things in their lives and sharing them together. Unbridled from what they tell us to expect and to believe. Get it? It doesn't have to be negative. I know you get it. We're at the end of this damn thing and you're still here. But it's important. It's an important concept. Agnostic in all ways, as I like to say. You don't have to believe what they tell you to believe. But also, don't keep such an open mind that your brain falls out. It is what is it? It's a fine balance. Fantastic stuff. Appreciate the call. Appreciate all the calls and all the amazing chat. Thanks for being part of this, guys. You're all incredible. Like I said, you make my world go round. I hope I do my part for you. If you want to help troubled minds, help our friends. Very simple, troubledminds.org/friends. Go give these fine folks a follow. So many people that make this show go. It's not just me. The ideas, we're collaborating, not just with AI. We're collaborating. Look, I'm collaborating with AI, my own consciousness, my own ideas, mixing those things with AI and then bringing them to you guys, and we're collaborating together, you see. So there's an amalgam of things in play. And I think it's important. It's important to consider that everything doesn't need to be dire all the time. Help our friends, please. Let's the rising tide raises all ships, something like that. Shout out Derek on that. I'm not a coast kid, so what do I really know? But that's that. troubledminds.org/friends. If you want to help Troubled Minds directly, spread the word. Let people know a conversation's happening where we're not going to talk about or tell you who to vote for. We're going to sort of break down the reality spectrum and consider what it means without it. That's that. If you want to help spread the word, old school word of mouth beats the algorithms every day. That's exactly the point. If you want to help Troubled Minds directly, there's merch. There's troubledfans.com. You will not find Michael Strange in a hot tub, but you will find the hottest Troubled Minds merch around. You could tip on Rockfin or Rumble or whatever. It's all there. Sub up to the podcast feed. All that stuff, links are in the description down below. If you appreciate all the work that goes into this and all the time spent, thank you for that. Thank you to John 5B again for the generous tip over there on Rumble. I appreciate that very much. And James, anything to add? I saw you dipped but came back.
No, just sorry that I had to leave. I lost my internet for a few minutes there.
Oh.
Glad to be back.
This is all your fault, James. This is all James's fault. This one's for James. Welcome back with your dirty internet, your dirty Michigan internet. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. We'll see you on Sunday, God willing. And tomorrow, Friday night, we'll have the long form conversation. So looking forward to that. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific, and lots of things happening.